welcome to TSTV, a show in which I, Sadie, guide my friend Lily through the wild world of Twin Peaks. Today we are talking about episode 13, aka season 2, episode 6, Demons. Lily, how's it going?
It's going good. So, I need to come clean. I'm not sure if you know this, but I've been trapped in a wind tunnel since early October. I went in just sort of like to hang out one day, see what that was like, and then this lady in like a jumpsuit has been like keeping me in there. She's sort of like whipping me around the room,
Dude,
and
that's
she
why
likes
your
to see
audio
me
has
like
been fucking crazy.
Yeah, so I'm kind of dealing with that. I'm kind of tired, but okay, but in all seriousness, that is my big update is I did do a wind tunnel a couple days ago. I did like indoor skydiving. Um and I've been thinking about it nonstop, dude. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, tell me about it. I feel
So
like when you told me, I was like, I feel like I would do that. And then I was like, I feel like I would do real skydiving. I was thinking about this because on Dragula that I've been watching with Maya, they have like we've talked about Dragula, right?
I've seen some of it, and yeah.
They have them do an extermination, and one of them was skydiving. And I was like, oh, I could do that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
But maybe I couldn't, because tell me about how it was crazy.
No, I bet you could. It's just it is really physically intense for sure. Just like the amount of wind that it takes to like hold you up is a fuck ton of wind, and it is so loud. It's so loud that like my ears, I had earplugs in, but my ears couldn't really make sense of what was happening to them. Like it was like
Whoa.
it was like trying to find patterns in the wind noise, and it was hearing like notes and
Whoa.
stuff.
That's downright Lynchian.
I think so too. So I have like joint problems in my shoulders. Where they like sort of pop in and out sometimes. And technically you're not allowed to do this if your shoulders have ever dislocated. And I'm
Uh,
thinking here, like I'm signing the waiver, like I don't think they've ever dislocated. They're just popping around.
is that not dislocating?
I think it is joint instability, which is like slightly different. It is like not as big a deal.
Just slip it and slide them.
Just yeah, totally. Like I'm doing it right now. It doesn't hurt, you know. I sign the waiver. I get in the wind tunnel and it's like, "Oh, I see why I'm not supposed to be in here." It felt like my shoulders were going to dislocate at any second. So that was crazy. It's like a really physically uncomfortable thing. Like the position you had to be in was not one that really worked for me. But here's my real takeaway. You know how when you're like in nature,
Uh-huh.
in like way deep out, or you're like in the middle of like a huge body of water or whatever, you have like a bit of a mystical experience. Like you'll have like you'll feel like you're connecting to something much larger than you, you know?
Mount Erie Night Palace out now.
So I almost experienced like the inverse of that, which was like
Oh my god.
the sort of like amazement at this thing that is actually totally unrelatable and just like machine, you know, just like the amount of force that it takes to like levitate a body off the ground, and just like yeah, the noises it made are not noises that like my brain understood how to process. It was like a transcendent experience that didn't have anything to do with like me, um
Huh.
or being a person. I don't know, like I've been
Honestly, that is
journaling.
very Lynchian.
Yeah, no, it was fucking cool. I felt like I was in the sawmill in the intro.
I feel like and this is our like legal teaser, I guess, is that I think that as an experience, the way you described that, I think that's very Twin Peaks The Return.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, cool. Dude, I can't wait. Anyway, that's my little thing for this morning. How you been, Sadie?
I'm doing okay. In the last week, my movie that I watched two. I watched
Mm,
Look Back, which is the adaptation of a one shot by Chainsaw Man guy,
yeah.
whose name I'm forgetting. It's like I thought it was gonna be like full feature length, but it was just an hour.
Interesting.
Tetsuki Fujimoto is Chainsaw Man guy. And it was kind of about two girls kind of growing up into young women as they are collaborating on manga together. And uh then it gets sad. Do you care if I spoil Look Back?
Uh, You know what? I think I will watch it. I've seen some of the animation and it's just fucking awesome.
Yeah, some of the animation was great. It was pretty good. It does the thing where it's like very about, the experience of making manga, and like, the protagonist, the main one, gets her own strip in Shonen Jump called Shark Kick, which just looks like a guy out of Chainsaw Man, and also his first manga was called Fire Punch.
Fire Punch.
Um so it's very and it kind of is like it's and I'm not sure if I like this or don't like this about it, but it's like partially about like the relationship between these two girls and like how art connects us, but it can be exploitative.
Sure.
And then at the end, it's also just about like how working as a manga artist in a like, week by week serialized like Shonen Jump situation is like one of the most crunch heavy jobs that
Holy shit,
exists.
I'm so sure.
Like, it's really, you know what I mean? Like, there's the Berserk guy died a couple years back, and he was like very sick because of working as hard as he was on
Oh,
Berserk. There's,
fuck.
uh, the Hunter x Hunter, which is one of my favorite animes. The Hunter x Hunter guy famously like has only just recently started publishing chapters again, because he like will have to go on just like years long hiatuses because like he fucked up his back like so bad that he just could not draw for years at a time. It's bad
Oh
out
my
there
god.
in well, even just like when you think about like when I read a chapter of like Chainsaw Man or whatever, and I think about like just even just in a kind of like, black and white like manga style, like drawing that much per week
I cannot imagine.
is and so it part of it is like, is it worthwhile to draw art even if, it is not really the experience of being with someone.
Oh.
And is like, yes, it is still worthwhile. It is like a form of connection that is like sublime and beautiful. Because the two end up kind of drifting apart a little bit. And then some other things happen. But it's also like ends up like combining that with like, is it worthwhile to work on manga even though it's like very exploitative and
Yeah.
you're working really long hours and it's like kind of destroying your body. And it doesn't get too into that, but it definitely like feels very charged by, I think in recent years there's like a lot more of a conversation around that.
Yeah.
And it ends up still kind of being like, yes, it's still like making art is still worth it despite the sacrifices, even if the sacrifices are like, it's kind of conflating
Mm.
with spending time with people and just like giving yourself up to this particular way of producing art under this like particular market thing. And it's kind of the thing where like, I'm, you know what I mean, I don't need Tetsuki Fujimoto to turn to the camera and say, and I'm the same type of communist as you. But I think it is maybe kind of like, it is true in that he is a manga artist who's making a weekly Shonen Jump manga who has decided to keep doing that.
Yeah.
But so in some ways I'm like, I think this makes it richer and more interesting, and in some ways I'm like, dude, would I wanted a bit more engagement with that than would have happened in 58 minutes of runtime.
This makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's fucking tricky because yeah, when you have a really difficult job, naturally you want to find a way to make it okay. Like just like even just
Yeah,
justify or rationalize the things that are happening. Yeah, like who does that ultimately serve? I don't know.
I think that's the thing. It's like, yeah, it's like making art is hard because whenever you make art you're not spending time with your friends, which is something that I think about.
Mhm.
But it's also like the reason why Shonen Jump, like, weekly manga particularly is so exploitative is because of like the nature of the industry, right? And it
Mhm.
like that is stuff that this thing kind of wants to think about, but kind of, or it knows about it, but it's not trying to talk about it in an industry way, which I'm not every piece of art needs to look at the camera and say that the answer is unionization or whatever, sorry to bother you know what I mean? But yeah, it was pretty good. The other one I watched was The Big Lebowski, just because I hadn't seen that since I was a teenager. I felt like watching something light. It was pretty good.
That's a Coen Brothers movie, right?
Yeah.
I fucking love those guys. I need to watch it. It seems to be like their most famous one.
Probably. It's like, it's funny. I like it. and there are a lot of things to critique in it. It's very kind of its time.
In that, like, people, like, bowl on the regular.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to critique about it. There's all this there's all this bowling,
All
which
this
is
fucking bowling.
frankly immoral. These poor pins are trying to build a life and family, and as the animation tells us, you just come through their home with a fucking rocket launcher and blow them all up. It's funny. It's written in a way that's very like it was the late 90s, and this guy, he's what the opening is like, oh, the dude he was the guy for his time. I guess it's early 90s, but I honestly thought that it was made in the early 2000s because it feels like it has
Oh.
a post 9/11 nostalgia for the 90s.
Interesting.
But I guess it was just from the 90s. But it's also
Yeah.
like really like, has a comedy character is a like Hispanic man called Jesus/Jesus, who is a gay sex offender who just shows up to be like, I'm gonna fuck you up when we
What the
bowl,
fuck?
Yeah, it's like, and it's the kind of thing where it does just commit to all these things, and it is funny, but it is also like it's really, it honestly reminds me of some of Twin Peaks, or just like the kind of thing where it's like, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Theoretically, there is a good joke in here, but it's also it's a movie that is very trying to, I think, intentionally be not like outside of politics, but like, the dude is just like, I'm not worried about all that, man, and that's kind of the energy of the movie. But
Yeah.
honestly, on the whole, it was fun, good time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. The politics of Coen Brothers movies, something that, like, it seems like anyone who likes the movies is like liable to claim as their own. Like,
Oh, sure.
there is a read of some of their movies that I can super get on board with, and there is also like a libertarian weirdo read.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, ultimately I think they're just movie guys, They just want to grill.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like the politics of most of the movies doesn't really check out, like if you go around and kick the tires on it, it's not really gonna work out, but
Yeah, that's not what they're really going for, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, do we want to get into the show?
Yeah, let's talk about Twin Peaks.
Oh, I meant Real Housewives of Orange County.
Oh, fuck.
It's a bonus episode, right? About Real Housewives of Orange County?
Okay, so yeah, in this episode, hold on, give me 1 second here. I'm just getting my notes out. So Tamra Judge and Heather Dubrow are really up to, their usual shenanigans. Despite the fact that
Fucking
former
Heather.
housewife Alexis Bellino was appearing in A Friend of Capacity.
Yeah, as a longtime fan, I know what that means. And so do you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we have fun. Let's leave that parallel universe and talk about Twin Peaks.
Sounds good, buddy. Yeah, do we want to watch The Log Lady?
Fuck yeah. The fastest I've ever pulled up Real Housewives of Orange County Wikipedia page.
I heard you typing furiously.
Okay, Log Lady. Here she comes.
Ba-la-la.
Sometimes we want to hide from ourselves. We do not want to be us. It is too difficult to be us. It is at these times that we turn to drugs or alcohol or behavior to help us forget that we are ourselves. This, of course, is only a temporary solution to a problem which is going to keep returning, and sometimes these temporary solutions are worse for us than the original problem. Yes, it is a dilemma. Is there an answer? Of course there is. As a wise person said with a smile, the answer is within the question.
What? Okay.
Yeah. This is a weird one. I love when the Log Lady is like, is there an answer? Of course there is.
Well, yeah. And okay, she says the answer is in the question. I don't I don't understand what that
I guess
means.
the dilemma being the fact that we want to hide from ourselves. We don't want to be us. It's too difficult to be us. And that's when we can turn to drugs and alcohol or behavior to forget that we are ourselves. I gotta say that has a real like high school essay like quality of like it is at these times that we turn to drugs and alcohol or behavior to forget that we are, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess the dilemma, which is the question that contains its own answer, is that we don't want to be ourselves, we hide from ourselves, and we turn to a number of things, but it's only a temporary solution to a problem that's going to keep returning. Is anything jumping out at you about this one? This one I actually also only watched after the episode.
Gotcha. This one, yeah, this one totally tracks for me. I like a theme I'm tracking in this episode is like people sort of regressing into how they were before the show started.
Yeah. Interesting.
It is too difficult to be them. I can think of like three instances of that in this episode. I'll call those out as we go. But also,
Wait, can you say them now? Because I'm curious, because that's not something that I had tracked.
Sure, sure. So that would be Shelly and Bobby sort of reaffirming Leo as like being nice to him and like reharmonizing sort of. Leland becoming a smarmy businessman, and it would be Maddy heading back home.
Interesting. I mean, also kind of Nadine in a way, right?
Sure, yeah, totally. Oh my god, yeah,
Huh.
it's too difficult to be us. You're so right.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously the other thing that I'm thinking about is the big final scene. Mike inhabiting Philip Gerard gives us the like crazy lore dump. We'll get there when we get there. But you know, is that a version of like, is it too difficult for Philip Gerard to be himself? You know? And so he tries to be someone else. Well, and you know, that the big thing at the end that Bob is inhabiting someone, whoever that person is that a like trying to hide from yourself, you know?
Sure. Oh man, I'm glad you bring this up. That hadn't occurred to me.
Oh, look at us complimenting each other's reads.
Okay, one last thing here is
Yeah.
a moment of Dale being like ashamed of himself about his conduct. Harry just like basically hands him a drink and he's like, don't worry about it. So, you know, like forget that you are yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this actually feels like a not that I need the show to like tell me this is bad. It is bad that Dale is doing this. But the show can be sort of ambivalent about the things that the law enforcement is doing that we don't fuck with.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is an indication that like, yeah, show is anti the way that Dale and Harry deal with their guilt this episode.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I feel like there's something that, and I forget if this is something that I've talked about on this podcast, but there's something that David Lynch does a lot, and especially in Twin Peaks, where he will make something ambiguous. And I'm often thinking of, I often think about this as like in terms like something that doesn't like not morally ambiguous in this way, but like, you know, hey, why was that little guy dancing, or why is there a one-armed man in the hospital, you know? And then kind of return to it later and give it meaning, you know?
Yeah.
And in a way that like I think there's a read on that that's like David Lynch is playing the long game, right? And I think in some ways he is, and I think in some ways he's you know, we've talked about it. In some ways he's improving.
Yeah, totally.
But I think he really likes to like I think part of why David Lynch will sometimes just like love to put a image somewhere that when you see it you're like, huh, why is that there? I'm trying to think of an example that doesn't just like spoil you on something, but like
there's an establishing shot in this episode that does not really establish the location, but it is just like dark and scary and atmospheric. And I like, I tried to understand why it struck me how it did, and I can't. I just don't know.
Or even okay, I'm gonna make up an example so that it doesn't spoil you. I think David Lynch loves to like have in a weird supernatural moment, an image happen. Like, if in one of these, like, supernatural sequences, there's just a, like, red, like, hobby horse, like a rocking horse, you know? And it's like,
Yeah.
why is that there? And it's like prominently featured. And, you know, and then like when you see that, it's just kind of an image that David Lynch wanted to put in there. And it's, you know, you can analyze it on like color theory and whatever. And then like, you know, uh, 20 episodes later, or sometimes like 25 years later in The Return, there will be a thing of like, you know, the red rocking horse is the shape that the demon takes or whatever. You know what I mean? Like someone will say, like, you know, they'll have someone like a spirit will be talking to Dale Cooper and be like, the evil takes the shape of a red horse, and you're like, oh fuck. That means that
Yeah.
when there was that red rocking horse in the room, the evil was there the whole time. And it's like, that's, you know, David Lynch wasn't like, I think he does a lot of just giving himself open-ended images, and then if he wants to kind of quote unquote solve them and invest concrete meaning into them later, he can. And sometimes he just doesn't want to, you know what I mean?
Dude, is that what's going on with the owls?
I definitely kind of think so. Yeah, like I think that is a good example of that, to be honest. Yeah. And like, or even just like, you know, thinking about the Red Room, you know, so far, like we have only seen it in that one sequence. And, you know, there are a lot of questions such as, why was that little guy dancing? Why are they talking backwards? You know, what's going, like, obviously, and like a lot of that, you know, we've talked at like even at this point in the show, they've kind of been like having the Red Room kind of like enter the world of Twin Peaks, like via uh the like One-Eyed Jacks, and like, you know, the red curtains obviously has a lot of imagery attached to it, just in terms of like, you know, theater, the Wizard of Oz, you know.
Yeah.
But that like is something also that if David Lynch ever wanted, he could just declare something like true about it in a like, in this world's like in the same way where at the end of this episode he's like, yeah, and it's funny, I forgot how like sudden they're just like, yeah, I'm an inhabiting spirit, I need a host, you know.
Yeah.
It's they just like, yeah, they just announced that that's what's happening, and like then he's like, okay, yeah, I've decided that that's what that is now, is kind of what it feels like, you know, and not in a bad way. And I think that there's
No, that's
a similar thing happening with the kind of like moral calculus of Dale Cooper, you know, where I think that there's a lot of these like ambiguities around Dale and how he's interacting with Audrey, and, you know, like all this stuff here where it, if all we had was, and like this is something I've said before, we're like watching it now, the show feels kind of like either just on Dale's side, or like if it is critiquing itself on that, like very undercurrent, very subliminally.
yeah.
But then I think, you know, you can like record a Log Lady or a third season of a TV show perhaps that like, you know, like unsettles all that.
I like the idea that David Lynch could be coming at these images in a way sort of like we are, like just looking at
Uh-huh.
them and being like, okay, what could this mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like what is the one objective reading? It's like what do I see in this?
Mm-hmm.
And then like building it out from there after the
Mm-hmm.
fact. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if that's why his like body of work is so fun to pick apart, because he's sort of along for the ride with us.
Yeah. And honestly, like, you know, this isn't to undersell, like, I think the amount of planning that he can do, because I think, you know, doing this rewatch, there are a lot of things where I'm like, yeah, I see what Twin Peaks has been going for, you know, and I think he does have a kind of long view, but I think he's really not afraid to figure out a lot of the little details, and even sometimes bigger stuff as he goes. Anyway, should we get into the recap?
I believe we should.
Alrighty. So, this week, Dale brings the rescued Audrey to the Bookhouse, where she says some very almost incriminating things about her father. Dale starts feeling bad about endangering Audrey with his cross-border raids, but Harry says, just don't think about it. Then his boss and best friend, Gordon Cole, shows up with clues, yay, and a spooky chest note from Windom Earle. Oh no. And they find the one-armed man who gives us a real lore dump about the spirit world and the cliffhanger that Bob is in the Great Northern Hotel. Meanwhile, Donna and James are, I guess, back together because, by the way, Maddy says she's going to leave the show. Josie also says she's going to leave the show. The Specter of Incest Looms. Mr. Tojamura makes Ben sweat and rebuffs Pete's cruising attempts. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Nadine is ready to fuck.
Oh,
How'd you like this one?
I thought it was great. I thought it was really good. Yeah, obviously some like very mystery crucial stuff in this episode.
I really forgot how much it's kind of like, you know, the show is flirting around with, oh, Mike and Bob and the one-armed man, and then they just like bring him in and are like, okay, tell us the lore now, and he does.
Yeah.
It also really, you know, in the same way that the season 1 finale really felt like it was animated by the spirit of the curse of being a season finale. This one definitely feels like it feels very like setting itself up for a next episode, you know?
Completely. Yeah, my friend Emily was just like begging me to just like watch both last night. Because she says the next one is
Oh.
crazy, crazy good.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it
I
was hard
agree.
not to. Yeah. So as far as my thoughts on this episode, something I appreciate about this episode is it feels like even if not all the plot threads are connected by like literal means, you know, like the Nadine plot
Uh-huh.
does not impact the mystery, nor does it need to. It does feel like things are all sort of moving in parallel directions. There are like, it doesn't just feel like, let's catch up with these guys. Let's catch up with these guys. It feels like a little easier to hold in my head. Yeah, it feels like the characters are struggling with similar things and sort of responding with regression in a lot of cases. And I think that's really interesting. Yeah, I dug this one a lot. Nothing to criticize, but less than usual this season.
Yeah. Do we want to jump in scene by scene?
Yeah, let's. Okay, so last episode, of course, ended on Harold realizing Harold, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That Maddy had broken into his house to steal the diary. He had like used the garden implement to like scratch his face. And so this is the continuation of that. He is basically shouting at Donna and Maddy, who are both like clutching each other, terrified. He says like, you know, you made me feel like I could go back out into the world, but you're just like everyone else. You're unclean is something. He lunges at her. At the very moment, James runs in to like swoop in and I guess rescue them, question mark?
Yeah.
And so they run out. James says they should really talk to the police. There's the scene. Interesting character moment for Harold here. He has been exclusively like a really gentle soul to this point, even when Donna was being pretty shitty. And here, I don't know, like his emotion is like he's still a vulnerable person. I don't think he is necessarily trying to scare them, to be honest with you. But his shout is still like the shout of a man holding a weapon. It's not a side of him that we've seen. You know, I see in the recap here that he is about to stab Donna. Is what's written. I don't know if I agree with that. I think he was just gonna grab the diary, to be honest.
I feel like that's some more Twin Peaks wiki editorializing a little bit. He runs at them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't think he was intent on hurting them.
Yeah, I would agree, honestly.
And I think the music also sort of indicates that. Like the music is not like the horror, oh my god, bad things are gonna happen music. It is like just like an emotionally heavy, kind of taxing thing. Yeah, what do you think of this scene?
Honestly, I feel like I don't really know what to make of Harold. just
Yeah.
broadly, like, we're having all this fun with him, like, as, oh, is he the audience, a reader, da da da, but I feel like I both on that level and just like as a guy, I don't really know what to make of this guy.
Hmm.
Both his delivery and the lines he's saying are so like melodramatic. You know, he says, I thought you were different. You made me feel I could return to the world and find something decent and pure, but you're just like all the others. You lie, you betray, and then you laugh about it. You're unclean. You have contaminated me, which is like, I think, obviously partially playing on his kind of recluse, shut in, agoraphobe, I guess germaphobe kind of like OCD
For sure.
is
For
how
sure.
they're casting him. But it's also kind of like, you know, she just told him this story about her experience of being sexually, I guess, like at least imperiled, you know, in that situation with Laura and the boys from last episode, and then they kiss, and like the whole like you're unclean feels very sexually charged given the setup to this heist.
Very true.
I also am like, girl, they still don't get the diary. I know there's a lot going on, but like this is the second time that like Donna has done a scheme to get the diary from him and had it in her hands and then just like left it with him, you know?
I know. Like, man, I maintain that she did not need the physical diary. I don't know. Like, it just feels like a bit harebrained schemish to me. As they leave, this
Uh-huh.
might be slightly later, but as they leave, Donna suggests that, he has her diary and therefore, like, James, he has Laura's secret diary. He could have killed her. And like that's a real logical leap to
Uh,
me. I'm it's
yeah,
like I'm not worried about this guy. I don't know.
I also don't think that she thinks that, to be honest. I think
Oh.
she's just like I maintain that this is still her like hunting a connection to Laura slash like the thrill of hunting something of Laura. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
My other notes, I love that James just kind of like figured out to go there from their like conversation at the diner last time. He's like, well, I guess they're going to Harold's. And I love,
I guess probably he followed Maddy,
yeah,
right?
that makes sense. I also love like at the end as they're like oh kissing and embracing and we're back together and like Maddie's really just like man standing emoji in the background behind them, you know?
Yeah, just looking. It's one of two like cuck chair moments in this episode.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Cuck chair heavy episode. Um but yeah, honestly, it's kind of just like yeah, it comes and goes and I still don't really know what to make of Harold.
Of dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still want to learn about his living novel.
I know, right?
This feels like a project that like David Lynch must have tried to get off the ground at some point and was just still like interested in, but it didn't work out.
Oh yeah, I'm sure somewhere on the like unrealized David Lynch projects Wikipedia page there's Harold and the living novel, you know? Okay, which this is like something that's hinted at later on when Donna is talking to Harry at the police station. But it seems like Harry's kind of saying like you sure like did he ever actually show you the diary? Did he just write it, you know? Um do you think that that is a possibility at all? Do you think that
That
Harold could have
seems
been writing cuz he what and here's what I'll say. He was writing like when he was like Donna, tell me a secret, he started writing it, you know?
that's true.
Do we think and, like,
Oh,
do we think
huh.
that he either wrote from Laura's account or, like, mixed that with his own kind of insertions into, like, the book of Laura's life or whatever in this, like, faux diary?
Oh, damn, dude, that's really interesting. Like, I didn't think so. When this came
Mhm.
up, I thought like, no, this is just, Laura's other diary where she keeps her secrets.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like that has been set up as if it is true. I don't think he is just making it up outright, but at the same time,
Mhm.
he is sort of sitting at home and maybe fantasizing about her, and maybe this is like an avenue in which to do that.
Mhm.
I kind of like the idea that it would like it's very conspicuous that we've only seen the first page,
Mhm. Mhm.
and also kind of like a little bit contrived that she found the diary and didn't look inside really beyond that. Makes me think it would not be her handwriting inside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mystery.
that'd be interesting. But I'm not sure that we're gonna see more of Harold. I don't know, like at least not for a while.
Yeah. Who could say? Who could say?
Who could say?
Do we want to? I've got some things to say about this next one.
Great, jump in.
Okay, so Coop is bringing back rescued Audrey, bringing her to the Bookhouse, where one of the the Bookhouse boys have got it all set up for her. Brings it in, says, "Oh, realizes, oh, she's been drugged with heroin. She is like almost like sleep talking in her heroin haze about like his hands on my throat, and I'm sinking in ways that we'll come back to it, feel very, or is it here, like, can you see me, daddy, can you catch me, his tongue is so heavy, the hand on my throat." There's a lot there. Feels
Yeah,
very
fuck.
very similar to some of what Laura's taped Jacoby, I think one of them, where she's talking about like she's sinking into like a bottomless black, because I think Audrey says something here about like I'm sinking. It was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
black cold, the lake, black cold, can't breathe, help me, please help me, I'm sinking. That's what's in the shooting script. I forget if it was changed when she said it. This is one of the episodes where our friends at Glastonbury Grove didn't write up a transcript for it, of like transcripting the episode, so we just have the shooting script, but sometimes
Oh, I
there's
see.
some differences. But yeah, so one feels very incriminating of Ben, and two feels very echoing some of what we've heard Laura say, which in the town of young women competing to be Laura Palmer, I'm ringing the bell. And then has a like, oh, I prayed for you to come with Cooper, which also makes me ring the like, how is the show sexualizing Audrey bell. But before we get into all that, oh, first of all, yeah, leading into the scene, there's like the late extended intro title card, like the credits continue and we get the like spooky river shot, which
This
the
is
show has
cool,
never
right?
done before. Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes it feel like the Harold and Donna scene was like a pre-show almost, or
Uh-huh.
like sort of between these two episodes.
Yeah, and also just kind of I think contributes to like the sense of marking this episode as like capital D different,
Yeah, this is interesting. I will
Uh-huh.
hold my tongue for now.
And we get Big Owl watching, and then I honestly, before we get into anything else, I want to have a Bookhouse minute, because when we
Can we play the Bookhouse minute theme, please?
ram bam 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 bam, it's the Bookhouse minute.
Shoo-ba-doo-wah.
Oh, it's so great that we were able to get that, pay musicians to make that.
Thanks for your Patreon support.
Uh-huh. Okay, so when they pull up to the Bookhouse, at first I was like, is that the Roadhouse? Because there's all these motorcycles out front. But I guess it was
Yeah,
James's
yeah.
biker friends or whatever. And there was like a neon sign. And I was like, doesn't the Roadhouse have a neon sign? But it just says the Bookhouse. And so I think they told us that the Bookhouse was like used to be a school and then was like a lending library. But apparently the Bookhouse is just a like coffee house.
What?
Like library / coffee house. That, yeah, I know there's a lot going on here. Hold on. Let me that they use as their headquarters. And like that's why I was like, if they're the secret Bookhouse boys, why do they have a big neon sign saying it's the Bookhouse? But yeah, it's a coffee house per the wiki that served as the
What?
headquarters for the Bookhouse boys. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
This is weird. I don't understand. What?
Yeah, like it is some kind of like public place, which is
We've just
so
never heard anyone else bring it up except the
the book.
boys.
Yeah, it really felt like their secret hideout.
Yeah.
But I guess it is some kind of like establishment. And I just kind of like last night after watching the episode before going to bed, just went on like a Bookhouse a research hole. By which I mean just clicking around the official Twin Peaks wiki, and I did actually download Laura Palmer's Secret Diary, the book that David Lynch's daughter wrote.
Oh my god, cool. I really want to read that.
Yeah, not yet, hee hee. But so okay, one, Because there is also the Secret History of Twin Peaks, which I think was written by Mark Frost. Yeah, it is written by Mark Frost. Came out in 2016. It's presented as a dossier compiled by an unknown archivist about kind of Twin Peaks. And this is kind of like the Mark Frost like lore book, basically. And this one says,
Cool.
I'm just gonna read this from the wiki. Sheriff Frederick Truman, so I guess Harry Truman's fucking like grandfather or great grandfather or whatever, selected the Bookhouse for the Citizens Brigade meeting place in the 1940s. Because of their regular rendezvous, the group later took on the name of the Bookhouse Boys. Now, I gotta say, we've been talking about this like police aligned, vigilante squad that's just framed as like the good old Bookhouse Boys that's fighting the evil out in the woods. In terms of like, okay, first of all, fucking j'appelle à la, Jay settlers.
Yep.
But like in terms of the, the kind of settler garrison, like the police are conscripting the locals into fighting the evil out in the woods, anti-indigenous-racism.com. But also, I gotta say,
Definitely.
I think that if any sheriff was establishing a citizens brigade in the 1940s, I think that's the KKK.
Fuck, dude.
I feel like it's I know that in the world of Twin Peaks, we're supposed to believe that the town of Twin Peaks is in this kind of like political kind of bubble where these things don't exist, but it's really my continued like, hey guys, I don't know about the Bookhouse Boys, only becomes more so, to be honest.
Yeah, fuck.
And in the Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, so last episode we got Donna's story about meeting these boys at the Roadhouse and then going off into the woods with them, right?
Yeah.
In Laura Palmer's Secret Diary, one, apparently they're 22, which is even worse than I think it said they were like 18 or 20.
So they were 20, yeah.
But they first met at the Bookhouse.
Okay.
Where apparently they met. Let me pull it up here. It says like they met at the Bookhouse, and I think they like gave them a marijuana cigarette, and then they meet them again at the Roadhouse, and then go out to the woods. So this could be a like, you have a place called the Bookhouse, you have a place called the Roadhouse. We keep calling the Great Northern the Lodge. There's a degree to which I'm sure this is, like what's her actual name, so I don't just call her David, Jennifer Lynch, like, writing this. And it's not the kind of thing where I'm like, oh, I think this is the show officially telling us that the Bookhouse is fucked up or whatever. I think this is just like you have a bunch of different writers that are working in the same kind of fictional space, and when you have two places that are named very similarly, you might end up overlapping them, not even as a mistake, but just like different. But I will say, in terms of my continued criticism of the Bookhouse and the Bookhouse Boys, in terms of like for last episode to have, Donna recounting this story that like, as we discussed, was like really tragic and like affecting, and to then say that originated at the Bookhouse of the Bookhouse Boys feels very pointed, right?
That's super interesting, dude. Yeah.
And honestly, my final Bookhouse note is just kind of funny, which is that it was in the original script for the pilot, it was just going to be called Hemingway's, which lol.
Hemingway's.
It's
oh my
so
god, that
funny.
would make it even more striking that it's like where the
yeah
you get it.
Yeah.
Okay, on the police vigilante squad thing,
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking for years about how procedural shows are like pretty prone to being fascist.
Yes.
Just like out of circumstance. Basically, like if you're doing a show about basically any high status group of people, like workplace, medical shows, police procedurals, fucking firefighter shows. Probably I haven't watched firefighter shows. I'm sure they exist. Like it is only natural for an antagonistic force to be like regulators or the public. Like I think about this especially in medical shows, how just like because of how TV show narratives like work over here, the patients have to be the bad guys. They have to be like irritating, and procedure needs to be like a force that gets in the way and bogs people down. And in this show in particular, these fuckers are in charge already. You know, like they
Mm-hmm.
run the police department. They clearly exist above or outside the law. So why are they doing all of this other?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask, why are they doing all this other like extra judicial shit? But I think it is maybe to keep the image of the police station as like a
Mm.
clean and non-corrupt place.
Yeah.
So like there is a place where they do all the above board stuff and therefore policing is honorable.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I think
but
that's
also
also
there's
true, like, of the decision of the writers to make the Bookhouse. Like, for the writers of the show to make the Bookhouse is so that there are things that the cops can do there that they don't want them to do at the police station. You know what I mean?
yes, exactly what I mean.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But I think, like, were you saying that as true about the characters also?
I meant in the sense of like the show wants you to think of
Oh,
cops
sure. Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah,
basically the
yeah.
good guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you get me.
Yeah. And so, like, in terms of what actually happens here, I do love Dale being like, "Oh, there's needle marks on her arm. There are clearly not needle marks on her arm like they did, you know?" Um,
Look, they were showing this shit on much smaller screens.
yeah, yeah. But so yeah, the speech that Audrey gives here, you know, what she's saying. She's saying like, "Can you see me, Daddy? Can you catch me? His tongue is so heavy, the hand on my throat, it hurts. And like black
Fuck.
cold, I'm sinking." So like this is like I think there's a read on this in which she's like, you know, recalling she saw her dad, she had the mask, he was trying to catch her, and then like the hand on the throat and the tongue could be Jean Renault. Because he was also like, "Daddy's going to protect you," or whatever, you know. Um
Mm.
but I'm and like there is the other read on this that this is like the show has been high like okay, the specter of incest is here, you know?
Huh.
I think.
But I'm not sure if I understand because it feels like she's describing to her dad something that happened, but like describing that person in third person.
Yeah, it's hard to say because honestly, I was really reading it as like she is like just speaking through this like nightmare vision that she's having of her dad catching her, or like the daddy figure catching her, and then you know his tongue is so heavy and hand on my throat, etc.
Oh, interesting. I felt like she was asking her dad for help in a weird way.
Hmm.
But then of course when she wakes up she's very happy it's not her dad.
Yeah. But I think that there really is something to me about like the like can you see me, can you catch me? You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, this is a really affecting scene. The way that she is like out of breath, struggling to breathe really got
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about Dale in this scene. So like he is witnessing all this. He wakes Audrey up out of this like terrible vision
Mhm.
space,
Mhm.
and she's like super comforted to see him. He keeps like a pretty much totally straight face. I wonder where he's at in this moment. You know, dude's like been trying to
Mhm.
sort of set boundaries, but also clearly doesn't really want to set boundaries. And now he is Audrey's dad in this scene, basically,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Yeah,
How do you
there's
think Dale feels?
I mean, I think the show is being very opaque about that. And I think honestly, my read, and this is so the thing at the end, you know, she says, "Oh, I prayed you would come," as his like hand is, you know, resting on her face. Very pointed to me and feels really worth like bringing like talking about how the show has just like rescued Audrey from this like situation of sexual imperilment and then is immediately throwing her at Dale in the terms of like, you know, when they frame his hand resting on her face, she's like, "I prayed you would come and you did." That is sexual, right? Like
Yeah, it's
that
true.
is done as a like, you know, that shot framing and like writing choice is to sexualize her. I feel like it is honestly my read is that it's like Dale is being very opaque so that the show can sexualize her in that way without and
Implicating him?
yeah, without implicating him, and then also like still leaving it a little bit open, kind of honestly is my read, you know?
Sure.
I was looking through like the just like different things that we've heard Laura say, or actually this one was from Bobby's therapy scene with Jacoby, where he's kind of speaking for Laura, but he's saying Laura said people try to be good, but they're really sick and rotten. Every time she tried to make the world a better place, something terrible came up inside her and pulled her back down, took her deeper and deeper into the blackest nightmare, and every time it got harder to go back up to the light. This really feels, this is
Yeah.
very evoked in Audrey, saying like black cold, I'm sinking, help me.
Definitely.
And I
Definitely.
can't find the other one, but I feel like there was also something in one of the tapes from Laura where she was talking about sinking into a darkness, but it was the sinking especially. It might have, maybe it's just in the Bobby scene, but like yeah, that feels very very evocative of that.
Totally.
I kind of want to throw that at you a little bit. Like, what do you think is going on with that comparison that the show is making there? And like, because like that really feels to me like that is saying like Audrey is either was or is or will be imperiled in a way that Laura is, or is like experiencing. And it, honestly, like the way that she says it in this like drug haze feels very, in some ways, similar to how what we hear from Laura is just in these moments of people's guard falling, and like it's all, we just get these like little like subconscious almost like snippets. What do you have to say about all this?
Sure. So I feel like the slipping into the darkness thing, I feel like this could have to do with, I mean, yeah, it's being described as like a world beyond. I think it is maybe her slipping out of like knowability,
Hmm.
the way that Laura had like huge amounts of her inaccessible to the
Mm.
people around her, all these secrets. It seems like she had some sort of connection to the world that, as Mike says, only the gifted and the damned can
Hmm.
see.
Hmm.
I guess I could see Audrey being worried that she's going to like slip away from the world, if not like by
Hmm.
dying, then just like by losing her way, basically. I think the drugs have a lot to do with this. We
Hmm.
see in a little bit that Philip Gerard wards off
Mhm.
the spirit possessing him by,
Mm.
injecting medicine.
Mhm.
I wonder if the drugs here could have something to do with that. We
Mm.
definitely know that Laura was like a user of drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, on a literal level, I don't know.
I mean, also, it honestly, it feels like there's, thinking about the log lady, about we're trying to not be ourselves. I really have been so struck on this watch through it how much all of the young women in the show are trying to like, are either trying or being by like the magic of the show like transmogrified into a version of Laura. And I think in that sense, like being like forced to go to the place where Laura was working, being given drugs in the way Laura was, and then in this like almost like transcendental state, like slipping, like almost channeling Laura here. The specter of incest really kind of looms for me in the sense of like Audrey, kind of like hiding behind the mask at One-Eyed Jack's. And like I really watching this, if I'm putting in my mind that I'm watching this for the first time, I'm like, yeah, I think Ben Hort is abusing Audrey, and this is like coming through now.
Yeah, I think that's extremely possible.
That also ties into at the end of the episode, he goes, "Oh my god, Bob is at the Great Northern," and there's like a real, we're setting up the people that Bob could be, and I'm gonna make you take those power rankings. We're blowing the dust off of them at the end. This episode is creating a lot of hints towards Ben Horn's
Mm,
like secrets or misdeeds. You know what I mean?
definitely, definitely. This next scene is a continuation of the first one. So Donna, James, and Maddy have like exited Harold's house, and now Donna and James are like standing outside on their own, talking about love, baby.
So
Uh,
funny.
they they've decided that they are again, in fact, in love. Yeah, sure. This is a quick scene, but the one thing I want to just call out is that when they start being like intimate again, the fucking song that they were singing on the floor starts playing. I don't know what that one's called, but the
It's you. Yeah, it's so funny.
and
It's so funny.
just the instrumental version, but because of how that was initially introduced, it just feels completely artificial, right? So you noted here that the dialogue is so staged, and I agree. And I also think the blocking is a little like unnatural. They are both like really playing to the camera while like facing each other. And then yeah, it feels like they're just totally going through the motions. I hope to God that these two do not end up together.
Who could say?
It is a great use of the music. Like it's just so cool to have it is like their romantic theme. It's like James's romantic theme now, but it also carries with it the thing of like, this isn't a good idea. This is weird, isn't it? Even though it sounds a little sweet and romantic.
Well, it's actually is really funny to think about, or interesting to think about, like, you know, it is just both a very artificial sounding song, but also like them recording that is when fucking Bob showed up and was like, did the horrible crawling over the couch. I think like that being tied in with this like saccharine romance is very potent. But also, yeah, my note is just, I love every time the fucking dumbass love theme plays, because this is like, again, in the way that like James is growing on me on this rewatch, just because every time he shows up and his forehead is like 5% bigger and he's just like, I am in love, I think, with you, to like whichever woman is in front of him at the time, unless she just pissed him off, in which case he has to run away and sulk. Is just so funny to me.
Oh my fucking God. No, he's so funny. I was telling Emily last night, who we really have to have on, I think you two would really hit it off, how Donna and James started off as like the most sympathetic characters, the like probably my favorite characters, and I thought they were going to be like the main ones, but they are just in their own sad little world that has nothing to do with the investigation, and they're just making everything more difficult for themselves. I was telling her how I thought that the show was going to be about how they heal from Laura's murder, and it seems like they're just not going to do that.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's been 2 weeks, you know? They're having their rebound instead.
Yeah, that's true. But Leland seems fucking fine, so...
Yeah, hey, get happy, you know? Exactly. My only other note on this scene is just, are they just in the street outside Harold's? Like, I'm obsessed with because like, I know they're just in the street, and I just love to imagine that they're like, okay, well, he can't come outside, so, you know, we can send Maddy off and then just make out here. Harold will have to watch from his cuck chair.
But they basically say it outright. Like, as soon as they leave, Donna's like, it's fine, he won't follow us.
Yeah, it's so
and then
funny.
They just like stop running.
It's so funny. So that's just a little short one. So then we get the scene that features what we were talking about of, you know, Harry saying to Coop, like, hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So this starts out with Harry has recognized and identified Jean Renault from their kind of like collection of mugshots. I love he says, you know, he's okay, first of all, you know, Dale's like, oh, it's hard to imagine such cruelty about, you know, Audrey being drugged up. Again, it says the man investigating Laura Palmer's murder. His inability to imagine such cruelty really keeps coming up, frankly. I love what Harry says about Jean Renault. He runs the whole Northern Territories, which like is such a like the Canadian geography understander has logged on, you know what I mean? Like
runs the entire, because there's no place called the Northern Territories.
I mean, like I guess he would have to be just describing like Northwest Territories, like Yukon and Nunavut, but it's like all of those combined have a population of, let's see, yeah, about 40,000 or so each, which is like
he has over 5 customers.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, like over a parcel, like a territory, a surface area that is fucking enormous.
Yeah.
That's like being the king of like all of Brazil. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like being the king of all of Brazil. Yeah, but it's
just Brazil things.
yeah.
Okay.
So basically they, he deduces there's like, oh, I put his brothers away. He wanted to get me and he was using Audrey as bait. Cooper doesn't seem to deduce that Ben would be in on it unless he deduced it secretly in his head because he's going to reveal it next episode.
Yeah, that's something I'm trying to figure out. Like, how much does he suspect Ben? But we'll get to that in the
Yeah.
next scene.
And so we get some kind of hints at his backstory where he's like, oh, he's basically saying, oh, I went out of my jurisdiction and people got hurt. It's not the first time that I've hurt someone in, doing the job, or learning a little bit more about his tragic backstory that's been hinted at. And then again here, yeah, we have him being like, maybe I shouldn't have done that shit. And Harry's just like, sometimes you think too much. And this is another, like, we like Harry, but he really is on team, like, just cover it up. Don't worry about it. Cops
Yeah, it
can
kind of
do no
includes
wrong.
Harry.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Definitely. I get why he feels guilty. I think he should feel guilty.
Yeah. Harry's continued insistence, as with Leland, the last couple episodes, to just be like, no, it's okay, man. Don't worry about it.
Oh, these men. I don't trust
It's
them.
no way, guys, it's fine. It's not like there's a dark evil gnawing at the underbelly of Twin Peaks. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah, that'd be crazy though.
So yeah, that's all my notes on that one. Do you want to take us off to the next one here?
No.
Fine. Show's
I'm
over.
kidding.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Okay. In this next one, Dale meets Ben in the hotel and he's like, hey man, I got your daughter back without even needing to give them the money. So this resolves the suitcase saga. I was really hoping he would just keep the money. Obviously, I'm not big into like civil asset forfeiture, but like fuck Ben's money. Anyway, so he basically tells Ben what happened, that she was kidnapped, that she was being treated for a drug overdose, that the madam at One-Eyed Jack's was killed but probably was involved in kidnapping her. Ben keeps it totally cool because he's a sociopath. He knows this person who was just murdered. He's just learned that all of this happened at his business establishment. But he spends a lot of the scene just bent over his money briefcase, like looking at his money. Towards the end of the scene, he closes it and he hugs Dale and says, thank you for bringing my Audrey back to me. But I think he's still thinking about the money.
Yeah, honestly, one of my notes was like, how genuine or not do we think that hug is? Because I think there is a read that like he does seem, when he hears about the like drug overdose, he does seem a little bit like he does definitely like has a like, well, everything seems to be in order, checking the money well, but then he does kind of seem to be a bit perturbed. And like the scene at the end where he's like, I just like put this in the show notes, he's like holding the money, he does have kind of like a little boy, like scared little boy holding his briefcase energy,
Oh.
I think it could really go both ways, to be honest.
For me, it came off as not totally sincere. Maybe just partly because I know that his business is like what endangered Audrey in the first place. So like, how much does any of this emotion mean? Like it's still kind of your fault, you know?
The read I got on it is like it is his fault, and he just like he's just been like, oh, Audrey's gonna be fine. And even when she was kidnapped, he's like, whatever, this is gonna be fine, it'll work out, Dale will get it done. And like the whole trading for the overdose, my read on it is like this is his first moment of encountering in a real way, like, oh, my daughter could have died and I could have been responsible. And
I want to agree with you on that. I think that would be like an important realization for him to have.
Like, I don't think this is a redemption, or even that he, takes this in any good direction based on the immediate like next scenes that he does. But my read was that there was like a change in him, in his like the actor's acting a little bit in that moment,
Sure. Yeah. Maybe a little shaken. Dale is great in this scene. I do feel like he knows what is up with Ben and knows I think he is watching him for a tell.
Yeah, I feel like even just the details that he's giving about Blackie and about One Eye Jacks is definitely a like, yeah, he's doing this on purpose for sure.
And like his tone is very stern, and he's just being like, this is fucking horrible,
Mm-hmm.
you know. It is not, he's not saying it super nurturingly or empathetically.
Although I will say, I'm kind of like, there's the bit when when he says she was recovering from a drug overdose. This is funny. Apparently, in the shooting script, the note of Ben was paternal in spite of himself. Drug overdose. Oh my god, can I see her? And Cooper's like, I wouldn't disturb her now. She's resting. I'll call you in the morning. Which is kind of like a power move. Eh, And
Definitely.
in a way that I keep kind of this like comes up a couple times in this episode, but like the only way that he can think to protect Audrey, including possibly from her father, is to like try to best him at this like masculinity game, you know what I mean? Is like the no, she's mine now, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
No, completely.
and it's like it's like the this like, protective masculinity only knows its own language, and like he is still like laying claim to her in doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally
Yeah.
do. I
Yeah,
agree.
and this will come up later, but I'm definitely kind of side-eyeing Dale for this a little bit, you know?
Huh. I mean, I understand that. Maybe my read is like, maybe I'm being too charitable, but I guess I'm just thinking, if I'm Dale and I
Yeah.
know Ben's culpability in all of this, I also just want to keep some distance between them.
Yes. I mean, I think it's like I agree with that. I think it's also like side-eyeing Dale in the sense that my read on this is very much like Dale is still participating in kind of an abstract sense. Like even in trying to protect Audrey and to, you know what I mean, like solve Laura's murder and whatever. He is only able to do so by participating in this kind of like chauvinist masculinity that is about uh still about like claiming and owning women, but being like, well, I'm claiming Audrey now,
Mhm.
but I'm niceys, you know? And like I think he is still participating in the kind of masculinity that put these women in danger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. This next one, baby.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Leo is home from the hospital. He's, I don't know how to describe the state he's in. It's not like he's comatose, but he is maybe, uh,
Vegetating?
yeah, sure. Like his eyes are open, he's breathing on his own, but that's all.
Yeah.
So they bring him home. There's like an insurance dude at the house being like, "Oh my God, you guys are gonna take such good care of him. Great job. Congratulations.
Mhm.
God bless. Love you so much." Mwah. And then hands them the check, and it's $700 instead of
Mhm.
$5,000 uh because like loads of like medical expenses and should have been taken out. The two lovely couple do not take it great. They
Mhm.
do not take it awesome.
Mhm.
They Okay, I need to call it how they are dressed in
Oh
this
my
scene,
god.
because it feels like they are dressed for a celebration, right?
Uh-huh.
So Bobby is wearing his best suit. He's smoking a cigarette, like over Leo's like semi-aware seated body,
Mhm.
and then Shelley, on first watch, I was like, oh, she's also dressed fancy, but actually, so she's wearing a blazer with like a see-through lace
It's
top
so
underneath.
okay. I again, one of my notes was just fucking Shelly is slaying.
Yeah, no, she looks so hot in this scene. It's a serve.
But also, like, I love the difference in both of theirs, like, best outfits. Like, my note was just, Bobby in his finest waiter outfit. Like, is truly just like, here is my, like, shitty suit and tie. And meanwhile, Shelly is the fucking huntress.
She really is. Yeah, okay, so the insurance agent leaves. They're both like, "Fuck, man, what the hell do we do? Like I just quit my job. What's going to
Yeah.
happen?" And I want to say their conflict is interesting. This feels like the first scene for me where they as a couple have their own dynamic, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to
Mm-hmm.
like Shelley is in a relationship with Leo that Bobby is like interloping
Mm-hmm.
into.
Mm-hmm.
So here, when they're pissed off, they kind of act the same. So like when Shelley is like yelling at Leo. Like,
Mm.
she picks up his mannerisms. Her voice like rises in the same way his
Of
does.
Leo's or
And
Bobby's?
Bobby, sorry.
Interesting.
Yeah, it feels like they're sort of, and they're both wearing the suit jackets
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
co-conspirators here. They're merging a little bit in this scene, which is not where I saw this going. Like
Mm.
I what I expected to happen was a bit of a failed cycle break where like then Bobby would become abusive,
Mm-hmm.
but this is more unique and it's interesting.
Yeah, it definitely still feels doomed, but I do
Oh
agree
yeah. Oh
that
yeah.
like it's like the show is willing to believe in their romance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let them give it a
Yeah.
shot, you know.
My notes here. Okay, first of all, it must be crazy to be the Leo actor. You're just sitting around, you know. Uh,
You're going
yeah.
sometimes.
The politics continue to be confusing. There's like, it's kind of like a being in a wheelchair joke, but it's at Bobby's expense. Everything about, them being like, oh no, neoliberalism is real. We don't get $2,000 a month. Um,
$5,000 a
but
month.
yeah, God, yeah. There's, although $700 in today's money would still be like $1,800 a month, which not that bad, honestly.
I'm sure you could sustain one person on
Yeah, and
that.
listen, it's on small town money, It's the kind of like disability politics of Twin Peaks are fraught, and this is part of it, I think. But I I love the insurance guy, like saying like, why it costs so much. He's like, you see the results, and he gestures at the contraption. Like, your money isn't going nowhere. You have the contraption. And
I fucking love the
it's
contraption.
so funny. He kind of has the vibe of like he kind of knows that they're scamming, but he's like, well, I can scam them back.
Oh, yeah.
Also, shout out to the fucking clown painting that is like in like behind Leo's bed. Did you notice that?
Wait, what? No.
There's like one of the shots where we see the bed, and behind it there's a big ass clown painting, which is just like Leo loves his clowns. But also didn't fucking, I think Jacques Renault, when they went to his apartment, remember he had that weird fucking clown painting. So maybe this was their criminal code of clown recognition or whatever.
Show me the clown.
Like Leo's gonna be sitting in his like lying in his bed with just that fucking clown painting. I just put it in the show notes.
Whoa. Okay, like there's more clown soon also.
Yeah, we're going clown mode for sure.
Going to Clown Town. Let's talk more about that in a little bit.
Okay, so next up, oh boy. Okay, we have a short little scene of Donna talking with Harry about the diary. We, talked about that a bit. First of all, I love Harry's like, what's his name? Howard, making the same name mistake that we both do all the time when talking about him.
It's just a weird name for a young guy.
Yeah, he's basically like, don't be the boy who cried wolf. We talked about that. But let's get the real meat of the scene is when our boy shows up, our big man. Gordon Cole. You know what's so funny? I like forgot that I had just had us do Sunset Boulevard because I knew that Gordon Cole was going to show up soon. But and then I forgot about that. And then when he showed up, I was like, oh my God, Gordon Cole.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when we see Gordon Cole in Sunset Boulevard, he really does kind of look like David Lynch, especially in like 1992, But so, okay, I love.
Oh yeah, let's do a quick little promo thing. Join our Patreon. You'll get our episode about Sunset Boulevard, which is a big inspo.
Oh, amazing! Such a good movie, fucking phenomenal.
Lynch, incredible movie, classic. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, give us money. But so. I fucking love the intro here. I love we start in with like the close up of his hearing aid, and we zoom out, and Dale walks in, and both of them, without looking at each other, Dale does the like finger snap point at him. Cole, of course, played by David Lynch, Agent Dale Cooper, just barks it out. They have I imagine they both have like a little like HUD in the bottom left of their vision that says how close they are to each other, and so they're like, they don't even need to look at each other. They know the point. And the Dale Cooper, he is here. Okay, so first of all, we're introduced to the fact that the like defining character trait of Gordon Cole, which was kind of hinted at when we had him like over the phone, is just that he is very hard of hearing, and this is another thing of like Twin Peaks disability politics being complicated. Honestly, I'm kind on this one because I know that this is like David Lynch himself is somewhat hard of hearing. And I think like,
Oh,
you
sure.
know, but it is definitely like it's the kind of thing where like the recurring bit of like guy with his hearing aid in who mishears to every sentence and like replies to it as if you said a different sentence, you know? It is a bit ableist. However, I uh all every time it does do the joke, I am like, yeah, that's a good one, you know?
Yeah, they do make pretty good jokes
And
with
it's
it.
just like David Lynch's delivery is like so perfect, honestly.
Mhm. Yeah, no, he's incredible in this. I have to say, it didn't occur to me that he would be young 30 years ago. I thought he was going to look exactly like he looks now. It's weird to see him in his like 40s or
Yeah,
whatever.
I know, right?
Um, he is great here. Okay, I want to ask the hard of hearing
Uh-huh.
thing. Do you think that's just like a little David Lynch character quirk that he just like felt would be fun? What do you make of that?
I think it is more just that. And like I think, David Lynch like saying that he himself can be hard of hearing and like honestly it's also like the way that this guy talks like very just shouting and over enunciating is kind of just how David Lynch talks. I would be surprised if there's some of it that's also like as the director who's always like when we imagine a director on set who's like, "Okay, now go over there," and like really like yelling, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if he's
It's
just like, "What
true.
if I took all these things that I do and put them into a character?" And this is the reason
Yeah,
for
and
that to exist, you know?
a director will often be wearing like a headset or an
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
earpiece,
yes, yeah.
which kind of makes sense. Uh, I'm overreading this, but like they hear voices that are not physically, present. They
Yeah,
in the same way that Gordon Cole sort of exists in a world where all these people did say the things that he
yeah,
thinks they
yeah.
said.
I don't think you're
Um,
overreading at all. I think this is all that, like, intentional, and, like, this is a read that people have done about this for sure.
okay, cool. I just want to say that the way that this is like introduced, he walks in and he goes, "Speak up, sheriff. Hearing's gone. Long
It's
story."
so funny, yeah, the long story
That's really
is
funny.
so funny.
Yeah.
I think it's in this scene where oh, wait, is this or actually, no, is he interacting with Dale here? Or is this oh, no, it's true, he isn't interacting with Dale here. I got ahead of myself with the agent Dale Cooper. This is just him interacting with
Oh,
Harry. But yeah, he says all
yeah.
this,
Yeah,
and he has clues from Albert, namely, 1, the hair from outside Cooper's room was from a vicuna coat. The drug that Philip Gerard was taking is he's never seen something like it before, but it has haloperidol. And that the papers from the train track that were like near the bloody towel were from a diary. I don't know how they put that together, but I guess they ID'd it as coming from a diary. Um,
yeah.
um, I think, oh yeah, I love he's describing the drug combination. He calls it a combo. Which really reminds me of David Lynch's thing about how he loves to. There's like a thing. It's like I love to collaborate with artists because you always get something from the combo. I'm a real believer in the combo. If it's a 2 combo or a 3 combo, um,
Ah,
and again in disability politics being fraught, but also in the moment, kind of a good line is he's talking about the one-armed man, Philip Gerard, and the drug, and then Hawk shows up bringing him in, and Cole just, there's the one armor now, pointing at him as if he's like cracked the case.
ah,
um but yeah, so that is a funny line. However, girl, why are they bringing him in by force? And he's saying like, is it illegal to sell shoes? And I'm like, girl, be niceys. You can't just like bring,
yeah.
and again, and we'll get into it more at the end, but like you're just fucking bringing this man in, like, by force. It's a
It's
lot.
so fucked up. He's not a suspect.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a lot. And, like, they keep, like, we've seen him be like, I'm gonna get you, Bob. And, like, but the only thing that, like, the last couple episodes, they're like, he probably does know Bob. And then, like, oh, he sold Andy boots. We gotta find him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, they diegetically, for what they have to go on, they're being a bit extreme.
yeah, it's kind of nonsense.
So that's all I have there. Do we want to jump to the next one?
Let
Okay,
us.
so now we're back to Ben and Audrey. And this is another one where I'm looking at you, Ben Horn, and the specter of any of your crimes, and like I keep saying specter of incest because, like, you know, we've really, one of the things that I said to you about the show, you know, we started watching it, that like one of the things that you know is that the specter of incest is present in this show, you know?
Yes, I do not know in what way. I think I was spoiled on this years ago, but I've since forgotten.
And so, like, with that all in mind, you know, Ben kind of comes up and he's like, oh, she looks like an angel, as Audrey's sleeping, and Audrey kind of wakes up. We get this like big ominous musical sting when like she sees that Ben is there. And you know, Ben starts giving this big speech about, oh, the value of life. I love like the cut we get to Dale being like making a yeah, sure, all right face. You know, he's basically saying, like, as he's putting his arm around her, let's, like, you know, let's get you home safe and warm in your own bed. Just like knowing that the specter of incest is in this show, it feels very present here. And
Yeah.
oh,
Her bed is not the safe place. You're the fucking danger, dude. You tried to assault her like 3 days ago.
yeah, no, definitely. And like,
I mean, he doesn't know that. But...
they have this exchange where, like, basically it's just like, you know, Ben's like, oh, I'm so worried about you. I was just like, were you? And, you know, she keeps like, oh, you know, he's like, oh, I'm aware of the value of life. She goes, I'm aware of a lot of new things too. I saw so much.
Yeah.
He knows what was going, like, he's like, oh, what terrible things you must have seen. And she's like, yeah, bro, you know. So she's really kind of like talking around this, like, I could end you now. And I really want to shout out, you know, Ben is basically like, you know, we'll sort it out together. And Audrey goes, yes, you and I, daddy. Which, that particular phrasing obviously was you know, kind of doing a like, yeah, we'll sort it out, but also you and I, right? Like, it's almost
Right.
goofy to compare to that fucking song, but it is very pointedly using that same language. And again, thinking about
That's
that
so
song
true.
being very saccharine, but coming right before Bob appearing, you know, there's a lot going on.
Wow, dude. Yeah. I don't even know how to unpack that.
Yeah.
So Ben's thing about like it's times like this that make a man aware of the value of life. Every raindrop, every sunset. Um, look, I love when a character says this kind of thing in general. I'm always saying some bullshit like that. He's bad at it. Like, I don't believe him at all. First of all, raindrops and sunset are not really like it just sounds cheesy coming out of his mouth. And also, like, neither of those things are alive.
Damn. Get his ass.
Yeah, Ben Horn, I think you should say better things about sunsets. And also, I hope someone shoots you.
Bam, 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 bam. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, that's basically the scene. Is Ben's like, let's all go together.
Yeah. Oh man, he's a little chilling when he says that.
Yeah.
Like, he has this huge grin on his face because he knows why Audrey wants to talk to Dale right now, and he also knows that everyone's pretending like they do not know what they clearly know. So like he can just play it off nice. But around this time, she isn't like mouthing something to herself, and like you don't even hear the whisper, but I really want to know what that is. I like the idea that she's like saying something to herself to like soothe or reassure herself, or like just like keep her in reality, because everyone's talking bullshit and bluffing right now.
Yeah, it's a lot.
When is it not a lot?
Yeah, so true. I have questions for you.
Hit me.
Do you think Ben has put 2 and 2 together that the mysterious masked new girl was Audrey upon learning that she was being kept at One-Eyed Jack's?
Oh my god. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he would have some stronger reaction to that. And I also feel like that is like a horrifying enough realization that the show would want to give it time. Would want to give it a like devote a moment to it. But maybe he realizes that in the next episode, you know, because it is
Okay. Well, honestly, I'm gonna ask some very pointed questions by the end of this episode, but we'll return. But for now, I guess. Did you have more on this one, or is it Nadine time?
Nadine time, baby girl time.
Okay, yeah, take us to Nadine.
Yeah, so she burst through the door of her house carrying a bunch of items. Women be
Women be
shopping, you know.
shopping.
She's like, "Oh my god, isn't this just the cutest dress you've ever seen?" To no one in
It's so
particular,
good.
because no one's in the room. Also, she's not wearing a dress. She's wearing like a skirt and
Yeah,
sweater
I th-
combo.
I also read that. I was like, does she mean the one that's in the bag that she's holding up? In which case, you still can't see the dress. Like, even if she
You
went and
still
bought a
can't see
dress,
it.
yeah, it's so funny.
I love this. It feels like her delusion is even on like a really granular level. Like what a low stakes thing to be
Uh
wrong about that
huh.
you're wearing
Uh
a
huh.
dress. I think that's pretty funny. So, okay, yeah, Ed comes in and she is sort of speaking in the fantasy of we are high schoolers and my parents are away in Europe. You know, they're going to be home soon. She has this little flight of fancy about like God, I fucking love her. We should go drive out to wherever and
It's
neck.
so
And then like
funny.
just like
Throw.
throws Ed onto the couch.
Like, absolutely pounces on him. I think we both we both grabbed this same shot. Is so funny.
She's just like levitating above him. She's incredible. Oh my god, that's a great shot.
Yeah,
They're both doing such
it's
face
so
acting here.
good.
It's like a predator and prey
Oh
thing,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. This is like truly. I know you. I see on your notes here. You say you need Sadie thoughts on this performance. Are there things that you're like uncertain about in particular?
It's not that it's like ambiguous necessarily, but I do think it's interesting that Nadine thinks she's a high
Uh
schooler and
huh.
she is indulging a fantasy of them being
Mm.
married and this being their house where they can have sex. But that is actually
Whoa.
true. So she is pretending to be something that she in fact actually is,
Oh
you know?
man. Hey, Log Lady intro moment.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's so fun though. Honestly, I was watching all this and just going like, "Oh, Nadine, yay!" But yeah, no, there really is. This really does tie into like capital T themes in that way of everything around like a performance of a real thing. I love every time the show does that. But I think like
Yeah.
there's just honestly I have so many notes about like once again, this is like a kind of portrayal that I think is arguably problematic and arguably is still haunted by like the specter of like the strong uh woman who like is delusional about how feminine she is and like like the is betrayed by her
Yeah.
body's like masculine movement in terms of like specter of trans femininity, but also she's fucking slaying and I love her like awkward
Yes.
little hip dance that she does. um she gets so excited
Woo!
about necking that she just fucking punches him in like the stomach, but it also just looks like she just punches him in the balls. is
Yeah, oh my god, he's just like really
It's
hurt.
so funny. I mean, it's like this is again, I think I want to keep I'm gonna like keep an eye on this rate of yours of like the pretending to be what you are and whatever. Because that feels very interesting
Mm.
thematically, but also just in terms of like these actors are having so much fun. And it's like how when Star Trek does an episode that's like, oh no, Picard is possessed by an evil space demon, just to give Picard the actor an excuse to like vamp out and act evil, like
Oh, that's
that's a
cool.
there's like
That's
Star
cool.
Trek loves to do that, just be like, yeah, now it's your turn to, and like that feels like what's happening here is just like, Nadine, actress, just have a good time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. They give her for how like small her part is in like the actual
Uh-huh.
important plot. They give her a lot to do.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, me too. God bless her.
Hello, TSTV enjoyers. Did you know you can go to tstv.show and give us $3? You will get every episode 2 weeks early and also our bonus show, TSTV DVD, where we watch delicious movies. Most recently, we will have watched Eraserhead, David Lynch's first, maybe freakiest movie. We haven't actually, I mean, I've seen it, but when I'm recording this, we haven't seen it. But Eraserhead, crazy movie, you guys. And I bet you I'm putting money down now. we will have said really smart and funny things about it in the future. By the time you're listening to this, it'll be the future, so you'll be able to go check. And if we didn't say smart or funny things about it, your money back. So do it. Okay, bye.
We're back. It is time for our latest and greatest segment.
Tales from the Log. Okay.
Yeah, baby.
So, which character was not very present in this episode or at all, who we think was up to things? And I gotta say, I have a nominee.
Please.
We didn't see Lucy at all this episode.
I know.
And I have a shot, and I this is one that I'm letting myself make because I do not remember how this plot thread gets tied up.
Okay.
I think specifically because the last time we saw her or heard about her was like, oh, she's going to the abortion clinic. I think that means that she did not get an abortion.
Yeah, I think you have to be right. That would just be a weird way to continue the Lucy Andy romance. And also, okay, to me it feels impossible that Andy got Lucy pregnant because like he was infertile when they were having sex. But
No.
I feel like the show doesn't care about logic in that way.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's gonna be his baby.
Okay.
Anyway.
So I think what do you think Lucy was doing when she decided to not get an abortion? What do you think she spent the rest of the day doing?
Oh my god, that's great. That's great. Well, we know that she really likes to be influenced by newspapers and television. So I feel like what is one told to do by like the early 90s equivalent of mommy bloggers? Like I feel like that's what she's up to.
She'd go to Disneyland. I think she's going to Disneyland. Okay, wait, no, here's what I think it is. I think she is undecided about whether or not to have an abortion.
Okay.
Because the show does also still love to just keep a plot thread or a decision hanging for another episode. And I think she's going to Disneyland so that she's like, wow, even if I kill this fetus, because that's the language I think that the show would use, he'll have been able to see Disneyland from my womb. Everyone should see Disneyland before they die. And then maybe seeing all the families at Disneyland is like, wow, I can't do it. I want a baby.
I can't do it. For sure. And also, like, she can't ride any of the roller coasters because she's pregnant. So she can really only look at the babies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Sadie, that's so
all
good.
Right. Tales from the Log.
That concludes Tales from the Log.
Oh, boy.
Okay, back into the recap. I want to say something. You have to leave in under an hour. I'm going to propose, not that we stop recording. I think we can get through this episode, but I think we need to incentivize ourselves in some way to slightly lightning round it. Daniel was telling me the other day about a live stream where Patrick Gill and Brian David Gilbert were playing Celeste, but every time they got a strawberry, they ate a strawberry. Whoa. And it added up to like well over 100 strawberries. I think every time we do a scene, we should munch on some tasty snack to keep us.
I don't think that's going to make us go fast.
So I'm like tiny little. So I have like those little peach candies here.
So every time we get to a new scene, you can have a peach candy.
I guess it doesn't play quite the same.
Yeah, fuck it.
But
okay.
Like eat one peanut after every scene.
Sure, I don't. I don't.
Do you have 8
No.
peanuts?
Okay, listen, Lily, eat your peach candy. I'm gonna tell us about this next scene. It is unfortunately an upsetting one. So we open with a shot of Jonathan, who was introduced to us as Josie's cousin. Is he not? Genuinely unsure. Having like buckling up his pants, having just had sex with Josie, who looks miserable about it. Frankly, I think this is somewhere on the sexual assault spectrum in terms of like he is clearly wielding this power over her and is using that to be able to have sex with her. That pan up her back is really like giving us the kind of sexy pan up the back in a way that feels frankly distasteful given the, somewhere on the sexual assault spectrum that we presume just occurred. And
Yeah, fuck.
also,
My
the
God.
Specter of Incest continues. Twin Peaks could pull a, oh, he's not her cousin, that was just the cover story, which is probably more realistic, frankly, that, like, he's an associate at whatever the fuck this Mr. Eckerd thing is.
I do think that's true, but in the same way it would be inappropriate for like familial bond reasons if Cooper and Audrey had
Yes,
sex.
yes. Well, and also, like, he is very clearly now, my big note is, like, the show is addicted to having men sexually imperil Josie, like, uh,
Mm.
they, and this is another one where, like, there are all these kind of malevolent male figures of authority over her, and then Harry is supposed to show up and, like, fight them off and be the good figure of male authority over her, which I don't love either. But yeah, so he is clearly has this, like, power over her to say, like, you need to leave now, I'm gonna kill you, and, like, also has power in whatever their, like, criminal organization is, and he is just saying, well, I get to fuck you, you don't get to say no because I have this, like, unspoken power over you. Miserable, no good.
Yeah,
and
fuck.
and the show does not feel like what I would talk, last time, I think, about the real sense I have of the show's incuriousness about Josie. I think, like,
Yeah.
when Donna talks about being kind of in these fraught sexual situations, when we hear about Laura in them, there is a real empathy to being in that situation, and there is a real, like, artistic interest and curiousness in that experience, and when it
Mhm.
happens to
Mhm.
Josie, it happens and just kind of comes and goes in a way that, if you're just watching the show, it could pass you by because the show is very
I was yeah.
incurious about what that experience is like for Josie, and it continues to insist on her, like, mystery, which again feels very, the mysterious Asian woman. And, like, it's
Yeah, fuck.
again, like, it's the show also insists on Laura's mystery, but it still, there are a lot of things that we don't know about Laura Palmer still, but we still know kind of her emotional landscape, right? Like, that is what is centered. And the show's insistence on keeping Josie a mystery and not revealing what's happening with Mr. Eckerd and who's she's playing, blah, 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 it just has no curiousness about what her emotional landscape is like, And she just kind of flits between being the Asian, like, schemstress or the Asian, like, vulnerable woman. And I don't like it.
Yeah. No, she deserves a lot better. I think there are moments where the show, like, because of how sort of thinly they've written her, fails. Like, there are moments where we get like a Josie reaction shot, and she is expressing an emotion that we have no idea why she would be
Yeah.
feeling. And so it doesn't really land. Her internal life, I feel like they gave her one, but they do not really help us
Well,
understand it.
and it's just such a flat one. Like, again, it's like there's the thing where, like, I
Mm,
always catch myself being like, these things are also true about Laura. The show doesn't want us to understand Laura's internal life, but that's in a way where it feels like there's such a depth behind it. And Josie's internal life is just feels so
sure.
flat in how it's presented to us. Like, she isn't allowed that depth where she's just like, oh, she's sad and she loves Harry, and I guess has some schemes that she was, like, blackmailed into or whatever the fuck, but, like, it just, I don't know. Okay, also, my other notes here, he's like, oh, you've kept yourself in fine nick. He doesn't get any malapropisms, although I wonder if the show's doing the thing of, like, oh, she actually, like, does know that all her, like, malapropisms are incorrect, and she's, like, leaning into it to, like, seem clueless, which is, again,
Oh.
kind of agential in a way that, but it's still not great. Long story short, uh, we, come, sex just happened. It was probably on the sexual assault spectrum. He's like, you have to leave tonight. And she's like, no, I want money. And he's like, he's like announcing truths about her character. He's like, you care about Harry. You've made him a fool and lied to him, but you do care about him. Just kind of announcing in, like, all the back and forth that the show does about Josie, like, announcing, no, this is true. Uh and,
Yeah.
kind of grabbing her neck, kind of echoing Audrey's thing earlier, and basically just being like, oh, you're going to come with me or I'm going to kill you and you're a sheriff. And that's
Yeah.
the plot. I continue to not love how all this is getting deployed. Did you have any more about this scene, or should we move on?
I think let's move on so I can eat
Oh,
another
yeah.
candy.
Have a peach candy. Okay, so wow, it's
All right.
working.
And we're keeping in all the container noises,
Oh, of
by
course.
the way.
Okay, so this next scene is like
Ow.
kind of a big one. So Maddie's kind of like sitting at the lake. She's like looking at this guy fishing in his boat. Kind of James comes up, and James is on his bullshit again of just like, I did love you, I think, whatever, just James shit. He's just like, oh, what fuck, I have feelings. And Maddie gives kind of a big important speech where she's saying, like, I could tell that you looked at me and you saw Laura, but I liked it. Came here and I got the chance to be Laura. Alert, alert, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. Yeah.
And James is like, oh, I'm sorry that I think it was wrong. And she's like, it wasn't one thing or the other, which feels very themes of balance and the good contained within the evil within the good, da da da. But she's, she's like, I got to be someone different. There's been so much about like, there was that one contemporary writer who thought that Laura had killed Madeline and then got in disguise as Madeline, like that there was like a replacement scheme, or that there was like the show was transmogrifying her into Laura, and I think resolving this as like it was the evil magic of acting, the good slash evil magic of acting, that like you get to be someone different, and that is like
Yeah.
both right and wrong is really compelling to me in terms of like just David Lynch's general project about what it means to act and make TV shows and movies. James is trying to stumble his way through like, oh, but I feel love. He's like about to like come up with polyamory from base principles, his like steam is coming out of his ears. He's thinking so hard. And Maddy is basically like, you and Donna are meant to be together. Again, kind of just like announcing truths in a way that like feels like when Dale would do that, of just, you two are meant to be together. I'm gonna go home tomorrow. I'm done trying to be Laura. Very much a mirror of Josie leaving at midnight. And I'll
Yes,
I'll
for
let
sure.
you get through your notes on this, but I do also want to make you say, like, what do you think is going to happen with these goodbyes? And maybe we'll do that at the end of the episode in the next time on. But they really are having two characters announce, like, I'm about to leave the show.
Yeah.
Oh, and my other note is like when she leans in to kiss James at the end, it looks like the Laura whispering to Dale shot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right? Yeah, what do you think of this scene?
It feels like there's a really idyllic thing about it,
Mhm.
right? They're like sitting at this beautiful dock, which I don't feel like we've visited before. It's not every day that you get like a beautiful new location in the
Mhm.
show. It's the music is like blaring, it's totally like green around them. The sentimentality is so played up that I get suspicious. It just feels too magnanimous of a resolution for these two characters who, like, I don't know, I don't feel like James has been great to her, and she does not address
Mm.
that. And I feel like the show would want something to come of
Yeah.
that. So I do think she leaves, but there has to be something complicating their relationship. The closure feels too clean. The music is like a little bit cloying. It's really
Mhm.
loud.
Mhm.
And that's not a criticism. It feels like they're doing something there.
Mhm.
I just don't totally understand what
Yeah.
yet.
I actually really like this scene. I think a lot of the James and Maddie scenes, I'm kind of just like, okay, we're in silly mode Jamestown now. But I think like the like you made a note of like, Maddie has incredible acting, and it's true. Cheryl Lee really is a good actor. And like I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
the way that it dips into her kind of addressing and resolving all this. And I think it's really interesting for her to, like, it feels like the spell was broken when she's like, "Oh, I can't be with James." And like in a way where like if Audrey kind of was taking over her being Laura, is kind of how I read that Audrey scene of, right, of like the kind of ghost of being like taking on Laura traits is kind of like settled over Audrey this episode. It feels like I think it's really compelling for her
Mhm.
to like want to, in a show where everyone is trying to, in some way, wow, everyone's trying to be someone else. It's like the log lady saying, but she here is like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to just be myself and not keep trying to be Laura, even if that means leaving the show, is really compelling, I have to say. And also kind of fun to
Yeah,
think
good for
about in
her.
terms of like Cheryl Lee being on the show playing someone because she was Laura Palmer. If she is leaving the show, that's because Cheryl Lee wants to stop playing her also.
Huh. Sure, sure. Man, I really hope she comes back for season 3.
Yeah. Well, listen, do you want another do you want your peach candy?
Yeah.
Okay. Have your
Yes, I
treat
do.
and tell us about Ben and Josie.
Mm-hmm. I'm just like throwing everything I know about podcasting out the window right now.
So funny.
You gotta try one of these, buddy. I also feel like you should be snacking on something. I know it's none of my
Yeah,
business.
I'll find something. But okay, you know what? I'm gonna search for a snack and I'm gonna hear you, but tell me what happens in this scene.
Okay, great. Sorry, I'm just still chewing.
What should I love that. This is why I was like, yeah, we need to go faster. We should start eating something at the beginning of every scene. Okay, are you still so here's what happens in this scene, you guys. Josie is like, I want my money. And Ben is like, no, I don't have it. And Josie's like, don't play games with me because, you know, she knows he's full of shit. And he's like, oh, games? Well, I have this key to a safety deposit box with evidence that'll put you in jail. And in, I think, my favorite Josie moment on the whole show, she brings out her own key and is like, well, actually, I have a key to my own safety deposit box with enough evidence to put you in jail. I love that she just like,
And her key is bigger.
I know, she just like materializes it out of thin air is so funny. Ben's like, well played, and it gives her the check from Tokyo Bank that Mr. Tojamura gave him as basically, here's your money, you may now leave the show. What do you have to say about this scene, Alina, that you've digested your peach candy?
Okay, fantastic Josie scene. She, like, Ben is a real smarmy motherfucker, really tries to like flatter her in a certain way, and she's totally immune to it. She does not give him an inch. She just keeps basically saying like, look, fuck you, give me my money. But the moment where they are sort of both in profile and like facing each other, the little key mutual betrayal reveal, it is like a joyous moment for both of them. Like they're both having a lot of fun.
It's great.
They're criminals together, presumably, so this is them at the height of their powers, and they're just like, hee, I love being criminal, I love this. But then when Josie like turns away, she is like visibly distressed once you know she is given the check, and I don't understand why that is.
Honestly, I feel like my read is like, the real reason she wants to stay is because she's in love with Harry. And so being able to say, like, no, he won't give me money is a good reason to stay, I guess, in the eyes of the fucking Eckerd criminal group or whatever.
Right.
But she doesn't actually want to, is my read on that.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
First of all, I love Ben being like, fluidity is everything in terms of adjusting, while saying like, but I'm not very liquid right now. But then also he like starts trying to fuck. Like he starts like kissing her neck while he's saying like, no, you can't get any money.
Yeah.
Fuck you, go die.
Fuck you, go die.
I think that like the reason why I like this scene and not basically every other scene where a man like sexually imperils Josie is that like she has agency here, right? Like she is participating in this like criminal game and she has her own little key and the actor gets to have fun, and like that is more than can be said of basically any other scene that she's been in which she is just like pinballing between the various men that all seem to have some unspoken blackmail like or threat of violence leverage over her. And this is like one of the only scenes in which she just like feels like she is a character that is doing an action as opposed to reacting to other people. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, completely.
Other silly notes. But I love when she's like, don't play games with me, and Ben just says, games? Real fucking, oh, well, I'm a bit of a gamer myself. And he says something about like, you know, how I guess she killed her husband or whatever is the implication that people keep making. But he's like, oh, when that little boat went kaboom. And I'm like, yo, the boat exploded? It was a boating accident explosion?
That's nuts. Just put a hole in the boat, bro.
This is the first Josie scene that I am like, I think the show is giving her something to work with.
Yeah, man, I hope it's not the last.
Which is saying a lot for 13 episodes in, honestly.
Jesus, yeah.
Do you want to take us into the next one? And I've got a little chocolate orange thingy.
Oh, wonderful. Goofy scene, this one. I love it. Okay, it starts with the unique horror of two songs playing at the same time, which is like rock and roll guitar background music, and then Shelley and Bobby playing For He's a Jolly Good Fellow on the kazoo and doing a really bad job. So they have like totally ducked out the house. So they're being all like, haha, Leo, like you, wife beater, attempted murderer, classic Leo, but like we have all the power now. It's awesome. They go to bang on the table in front of him. Shelley thinks that he has like locked eyes and like maybe turned to face her slightly, and she freaks the hell out, jumps up off the table, and I think like hurts Bobby in a way that I feel like that actually happened on set.
Yeah.
And then so Shelley is panicking. Bobby attempts to like comfort her by specifically starting to be nicer to Leo,
Uh-huh.
which I thought was super interesting. So I see that you have the thing about the kazoo, so I'll let you say that first.
Okay. I mean, honestly, I've got a couple here. Because one, I just love, and you also made it of this, like that they just put a kazoo in Leo's mouth, and him just like exhaling is just occasionally having like just emitting a flat like boo kazoo sound. So they start when they're fucking on the table. He's like there's like the shot of his hand like running up her leg with the kazoo. I see in your note you say it looks like a knife. I really thought where the show was going is that he was gonna fucking finger her with the kazoo. Gonna make the pussy honk. Like
Yeah, dude, it felt to me like when I think it was Jean Reno was holding a knife up to someone's throat.
Yeah, no, I agree. Which is a very funny but also pointed kind of comparison here. Being the Leo actor must be crazy. You're just sitting there and getting dumped in cake. I love Bobby having like two party hats on each of his ears, like come on the side of his head. They got another fucking clown on the wall. It's fucking Clown Town. Call Shoo Shoo.
So true.
They're fucking just booping his nose and pulling on his hat, turning the wheelchair into the fucking cuck chair.
The third of three.
The tripartite cuck chair. I really like your note that like the fear of him has them just start reinscribing the old ways. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So they start to say, you know, like, we're going to take good care of you. Like, honest, we didn't mean to cause any offense. Realizing that, yeah, he might be able to hear this. I guess what most interests me here is that as something that calms Shelley down. Because it is basically like, that is a return to the safety in a way of the previous state of their relationship before the show started. Really, that safety was like, it was an incredibly abusive relationship, like almost fatally, but it had its own like stability to it, I guess, like in that they were a married couple. And she had like a set out role. This all is very new and uncertain. The idea of reconciling with him can be like, yeah, just very comforting to her, and I think that's really sad.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that is a really strong read on this. I love that. So you have your peach candy, and this is where the fucking snap point, Agent Dale Cooper, happens. Amazing. We love it. We love them. They're so much fun. This is the Cooper. You remind me today of a small Mexican chihuahua. I love, like, you know, they basically end up through the hard of hearing and negotiating their way into going to the sheriff's office. Dale gives him a big thumbs up. I'm like, wow, is this what started Dale's thumbs up habit of it being easier to communicate with Gordon Cole via thumbs up than vocally? Yeah, great bit of they're in the office and he's saying, I value secrecy, Coop. I didn't want to say this in front of the men. And, you know, they can obviously all hear it outside. And basically saying, you know, he's worried about Cooper. He thinks he's in over in his head. And he says, you know, you really, I forget what his exact, let me see if it's in the script. You went into the shoot in Pittsburgh, Coop. I want to make double sure, triply sure that doesn't happen again. So we, more of Coop's backstory, that something happened in Pittsburgh where Coop was over his head and maybe lost his cool in some capacity. Speaking of the backstory, he delivers a letter that was sent to the Home Office, and it's from Windom Earle, and it's a chess move. Dun 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 dun. What could it mean? What do you think about this scene?
More Gordon is just a delight. I love that he like it's such a cheap joke that like they go to talk in private and then they just shout at each other.
Yeah.
But it's really funny. He right before Harry comes in, he says 2 and 2 do not always equal 4, and then they just move on to a different topic.
It's so funny, yeah.
So I would love to know what that is getting at. I have no guesses. The Windom Earle thing, it being a chess move makes me think of the Seventh Seal.
Oh, during the Black Death, it tells the story. Oh, I know about this movie. It's the guy who plays chess with the personification of death. I've heard of this movie, but have not seen it. Yes.
Yeah. So makes me think of this big time. I mean, they were just talking about how Dale's like physical safety was in danger, how he was shot. I know that you want me to call some shots about Windom Earle here. So I know this is not the first time he's come up. I think there was a mention
Yeah, they said
that
he was
like
Dale's ex-partner who broke out of the asylum.
Right. Man, what does it have to do with anything? Like, I don't need another guy to keep track of.
Twin Peaks is relentless with its guys.
Cold shot, zero faith in this specifically, but I think Windom Earle also has some sort of connection to the Beyond world. They make a big fuss in this episode about Philip Gerard's schizophrenia or similar.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Windom Earle also has like a spirit inhabiting him, or perhaps more of like a Laura type situation where like he maybe is a target of theirs. They treat Philip Gerard terribly in this episode, and maybe he no longer wants to collaborate with them, and then Windom Earle becomes like a necessary connection.
Yeah, it's kind of a Suicide Squad.
Sure, I don't know what that means.
Whatever. We're on a time limit. Want to go to the next scene?
Yeah.
Okay,
awesome.
I'm going to eat my chocolate orange while you tell me about this next one.
Oh, I love this one. Okay. In a bad way. It feels bad. Anyway, so Ben and Leland in Ben's office. Leland is like coming back to work. He's feeling great. He really wants to help out. Jerry's off doing some like due diligence in Japan about like the new offer we got from Mr. Tojamura. Is there any way we can delay the Icelanders to buy us a little more time? Leland is just like delighted to jump back in to sketchy business stuff, pick up exactly where he left off. Given what we know about Ben, this feels like a total betrayal of his daughter. A moment that I didn't catch on my first watch, I think because I was busy taking notes. Leland notices this like taxidermied creature behind him with like white fur.
It's like a ferret or something.
It's like like that. He pets it and then he pulls out a tuft of its hair. It's like pure white hair, and he just like puts it in his pocket. And Ben like sees this and he's like, "Oh, that's weird," but no one says anything. My first thought was like, "Oh, is it Vicuna, like the coat?" But no, Vicuna is like an alpaca type guy. This is more of a if coats are to be made, probably like a sable or something. A follow for more coat facts.
If coats are to be made is a real if it is to be said, so it be. But so yeah, I do love the dumb little stuffed ferret. I love that it has a really dumb face. I think it is really fun him taking the hair and like, whoa, like his hair, the white hair. I don't know if that means anything, but it is very fun. And yeah, he's like surprisingly lucid. And even when we've seen him be like kind of manic, he was manic, I guess. But now we're really see he's just really like, yeah, here's the, we can delay this, we can do that. Well, put things in escrow for 6 months, blah, blah, blah. Like he's really very just like brass tacks about all of this, business nonsense. And this does make it feel like he's in on things kind of vis-a-vis our question of like, does he know about the Horns, like One-Eyed Jack's malfeasance, etc.
Word.
And like you say, the Great Northern is harboring the spirit that killed his daughter. He is being very made complicit in this,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much he knows, but I don't know, as much as I like the guy generally, like more than most of the men in the show,
Mm-hmm.
I would not it's not impossible that he's totally in on the one-eye Jack stuff.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
Yeah. So, here, I guess, yeah, here, do you want to do the next one too?
Okay, so this is like Josie and Harry's goodbye scene. Harry comes in and finds Jonathan, who Josie introduces my assistant,
Uh-huh.
carrying her luggage out to a car because it is time to catch the flight. Harry does not have a good feeling about this guy at all, asks for a little private moment, but he comes back in. Yeah, so this is Harry begging her to stay.
Yeah, at first he like kisses her very forcefully. It feels like another moment of like this male protection only knows its own language of like force and ownership. And in
Yeah.
theory, his like he kind of shifts into this real like sad little boy demeanor, saying like "I love you" at the end, and it's like not enough, you know. And in theory, that's compelling, but again, I think the way the show treats Josie and its incuriousness about her kind of makes it ring hollow for me, basically.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
agree.
do really love that we cut to this scene. We get a little interstitial shot of the log that Laura was found at.
Oh my god. Oh, I didn't catch
Yeah,
that.
because they're at that, the Martell Lodge, isn't that? Yeah, I really liked that.
Dude, right. Woof.
Yeah. But okay, short scene. We're fucking schmovin'.
Candy
Take your
time.
candy, and I'm going to tell you about our penultimate scene here. So Ben is with Mr. Tojamura. This is my first note again. Is just it doesn't help about the Josie stuff that we go straight into Tojamura land. Um, okay, I'm just going to say right now we both know about Mr. Tojamura's secret. The audience may or may not, but we can say there's a white actor playing this person. This is Yellowface. I think I'm just gonna say that
Yeah.
just to say it, which is another part of why this all sucks. So basically, Mr. Tojamura is like, oh, I gave you the money. Why aren't we closing the deal? I might have to back out. Ben starts vamping. He's like, oh, the fire created a raft of unforeseen problems, psychic as well as financial, which is so funny. Basically, like, oh,
Great line.
I need to, for the good of the town, I can't move too fast. It is time to say fuck off Twin Peaks because Tojimura is like, I know something about family or about fire. My family was in Nagasaki. Stop, Twin
Jesus.
Peaks, go, stop. No
Oh my
good.
god.
The only positive thing I can say about this is that it is fun to see Ben sweat, and there's a version of this where like Ben being just made to sweat for the delight of a disguised person is fun. This is not the way to do that. I like nope,
No.
not good.
We love a disguise. We love when a David Lynch character like wears a wig.
Uh-huh.
It did not need to be anything like this.
Yeah. And it is cut off by Leland singing another lovely little song about suddenly I'm bright and breezy. Ben tries to like get him to stop, but he doesn't. Um At the end, Pete just kind of like points and goes, "All the King's Men." I think he's saying that, like, just identifying that's the musical that song is from. But at first, I thought he was like making a request. Honestly, both of which are so funny. Like, either
Yeah.
or just being like, "Oh yeah, I know that musical." Or no, it's not all the it's The King and I is so funny.
Uh,
Ben kind of reads Leland doing this as like a play of like you're letting everyone see that you're still kooky for your temporary insanity defense.
do you think he reads it so cynically? I feel like this is him saying, "Dude, you look crazy right now."
That's a good point. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I think
Sure.
it's my read is that he is saying this better be that, but that I think that's also what he thinks it is, given how lucid Leland was in their previous conversation. And there
Sure,
is a
sure.
sense here that like he's not animated by the same mania in singing this as when he was singing the like Get Happy. Um
That's true, that's true. I want to say that my read was that he's just so thrilled because he's like returned to his life as just like a business suit
mhm,
guy.
mhm.
And so it feels like his daughter didn't die, like nothing ever changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Naturally, this is the situation that made his daughter die, but
Yeah. Yeah.
he's not thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got business to attend to.
And I think the part of the scene that I do like, and I think again the only good Mr. Tojimura scene to date is Pete trying to cruise him basically. As Pete's just like, "You like musicals?" No, not even Fiddler on the Roof made me weep like a little baby. And Tojimura with the I find it the adherence to fantasy troubling is so funny. Yeah, troubling and unreasonable. I'm rating this as cruising. Pete's like, "Oh, you're not from around here. Can I buy you a sake?" Tojamura says no, and he says,
God.
"How about nice cold milk?" And just like whips out the milk from behind him. It was so funny.
The milk was always there.
Yeah, I'm absolutely reading this as Pete. Like, I was bisexual when I was younger. Now my wife is dead. I guess I can can try to cruise a bit.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So Tajimura says, like, I find adherence to fantasy troubling. Meanwhile, he's clearly wearing a false mustache and prosthetics and
Mhm.
has assumed like a made-up name. So like, no, you don't, dude.
I'm finishing my chocolate orange slice.
Yeah.
You have your peach candy, and I'm going into this big last scene. So
This is the big one, the final scene.
they've brought in Philip Gerard. They're basically like holding him down in their like conference room in a chair as he's like, "Please give me my medicine." It's really cruel, frankly.
I think legally this would be considered torture.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's interesting that the show does want to frame it that way, I think. Like, it is definitely framing him
Yeah.
as, like, at their mercy and in pain. It feels like they're kind of exonerated by Gordon Cole announcing, like, about his medicine. "Cope, if you give him that medicine, you'll never see the other side." It kind of just, like, announcing to the audience that that's how this works, that, like, if he gets his medicine, he will not reveal the other personality
Yeah.
or this spirit, which is true, but it's kind of like we need the person who is played by David Lynch to tell that to us, to be like, "Don't worry, this is real in this universe. We're not just torturing this guy for no reason." The show kind of presenting these cops and like its masculine figures as doing the right thing, but also there is this undercurrent of criticism. I think that it is
Mhm.
intentionally framed as they are being cruel to him, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So, basically, it happens. We start to see the other side. The wiki says he has a seizure, but it's kind of like he's like convulsing and then kind of like deflates in this like very like exorcism type
Yeah.
thing. And I love the sound as like the spirit arrives. There's this like half diegetic, half not like high pitched peal. Then Mike introduces himself. There's like this rattlesnake of a woodwind, like clarinet or something like Wah, bah, 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 bah. Like, it's
Oh.
just really cool music.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're just like, "Who are you?" And he says, "Mike," and that he's an inhabiting spirit. And again, I'm amazed at how much the show has been very like, there are spirits, there are dreams. It's being very coy. And now at the end of episode 13, it's just, "I am an inhabiting spirit. I am a parasite. I live in this guy. Bob was also one of me. He's living in someone," basically. It really just like settling down the cosmological truths of this world. It is a lore dump.
Yeah, this is huge.
It's very almost kind of out of nowhere.
Mhm.
I love he's like, "Oh, Bob was my familiar," and it's unclear if that's like as in a subordinate, like a witch's familiar, like
Like a pet, right?
yeah, or like my compatriot. Like, you know what I mean? I think that that is really interesting. He says, "Oh, Bob, he feeds on fear and the pleasures. They are his children," is really fun. I love he starts reciting the chant from the dream. Even before he starts saying it, we're like seeing Dale, and Dale kind of leans in, like he just knows is spiritually connected that he's about to start the chant. And so when they start chanting, they from the
Yeah.
first word, they're doing it together, doing the Fire Walk With Me chant.
This is great. This is so cool.
Yeah, it's great. The through the darkness of future past, the magician longs to see one chance out between two worlds, Fire Walk With Me. This is from the dream way back in episode 2. And so, he says, he saw the face of God and took the arm off, which I guess severed him from Bob, but he remained close to Gerard, who I guess he was occupying previously, in order to stop Bob, which I gotta say, for Gerard, he's still just being possessed by the spirit who fucking cut his arm off, I
Oh.
guess.
I hope we learn more about that. I mean, I tend to think he would need to know what happened to his arm.
Yeah, yeah. But you get the sense that when he says, like, "I don't know about that," it's like he's not lying, right? That's the sense I got.
Mm.
It's kind of like this spirit possession, like, obfuscates your own knowledge of it in some ways, it seems.
Sure.
I love, he's like, yeah, he's like, this is Bob's true face, you know, with the sketch, and few can see it, only the gifted. And we see Dale because he's our special boy. And I love, he turns straight to the camera and says, and the damned, which I love. Is either one, like, is this saying, you know, are the audience the damned, or is it to remind us, like, hey,
Ooh.
audience, you need to think about who has seen Bob, you know? And
Yes, definitely.
but either way, it's really fun. It's a very fun thing to just like pull again at this point, the turn straight to the camera, like lock eyes. And he's saying, you know, for the last 40 years, Bob has been inhabiting someone or some place here. And he's kind of entering like vision mode of like he's nearby a house with many rooms that are the same and occupied by different souls. And Coop says, the Great Northern Hotel. And the episode just ends. I forgot that it just ends. This is a real cliffhanger
It's
moment.
so good. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I totally did not expect it to be the hotel.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So tell me your thoughts on this while I eat my chocolate orange.
First of all, performance of the year, you know,
Yeah.
like Mr. Gerard into Mike is such a transformation. His manner of speaking, his mannerisms. I think it's funny that he has an like a mid-Atlantic accent, but he's
Mhm.
called Mike.
Mhm.
So I'm not 100% convinced that it is the Great Northern.
Do you think he's inhabiting the Great Northern itself, or that he's a person in the Great Northern?
Ooh, I like this a lot. The thing is, I can't think of who Bob would be inside, you know? Like, I can't think of
Mhm.
any particular person who that would make sense for. Whereas it has been introduced that there is some sort of evil Shadow Realm hotel or lodge,
Uh-huh.
which, like, it strikes me as not totally impossible that that is the evil spirit version of this hotel.
Uh-huh.
That's like the closest thing I have to a guess right now. And I know the next episode is like a big one, so maybe we finally get introduced to that place. I really don't know, dude. That's going to be my cold shot, though.
The called shot is that Bob is like inhabiting the architecture itself.
Yeah, you know what? I think that would be thematically resonant because you have all these like international business people making a big fuss about the building itself. And
Their spirits in the woods. I see it. I buy it.
thank you.
And only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
Anyway, before we go into our final segments, I know we were just like talking about that last scene. Did you have any other things that you were like, oh, I want to say this? I know you just added to our notes that they're shooting Mike in a wider lens than everyone else. Tell me about that.
Quick primer for anyone who's not familiar, but like the focal length of a lens basically changes how far away things look from each other. So a lot of like the individual character shots in the show are shot like pretty zoomed in, and that creates just like a nice glossy sort of flat look that works well. This is how most movies are shot these days. Mike's shot though is just it gives us a lot more space, and there's less of a depth of field thing going on. So it's not necessarily that like a wide angle shot is like more haunted or anything. It's just that most of the show has been shot zoomed in. So when you break from that, it's like pretty conspicuous.
Is there a type of shot that's more haunted? As a videographer, is there a haunted shot?
A Dutch angle, baby.
Oh, how could I forget?
How could you? Yeah, so I guess that helps to distinguish Mike from Philip Gerard. Another really nice character choice there, I think, is that Mike is always looking up. So it's not just in the voice. It feels like Mike is like aware of his surroundings in a different way. That really works for me.
And very much looking up at like the spirit world, it feels like to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. A quick thing about the focal length is they do this in Severance to great effect. When a person rides down the elevator and like
that's
the
fun, yeah.
self that they are changes, the camera does like a dolly zoom thing where they move out, but they zoom in, or vice versa. And that's how you sort of get the idea that these are two separate entities in the same body. I wonder if they got it from this.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, I really like the line. So like Dale asks some sort of question. Mike responds, "That cannot be revealed."
Oh, I remember. I think he's like, where did Bob come from? He's just, that cannot be revealed. It was very like, oh, actually, this is so funny. I have the shooting script here, And you know how like often
Oh.
I'll try to use like the transcript, which is like I think a fan made thing that is
Yeah.
literally just like writing out how the episode actually is, because there's often little differences from the shooting script, and this has one of them where
Oh.
this is the shooting script has Mike answer where does Bob come from to just saying there are indications that we come from another world.
Oh my god. That's
Is
so meaningless.
there are indications is kind of serving Magic 8 Ball.
Oh my god, that's great. That's really good. Yeah, I in its like fully realized form, it just feels like he is looking at the camera and saying, "That's for next episode." You know, it's like he doesn't try to justify it at all. He's just like, "No, I
Yeah.
can't tell you. I don't want to."
Yeah, I do kind of love that. I'm basically ready to call this episode wrapped if you have unless you have any other thoughts on the last scene here.
Hmm. Yeah, I think let's head into our closing segments.
Alrighty. You have any crazy dreams?
Yeah, there are people following me around and like almost like my personal paparazzi, but they weren't carrying cameras. They were just like trying to talk to me a lot and like bugging me. I think I
This is what I imagine this is just what it's like to be on social media for you, honestly.
yeah, so that was super annoying.
Okay. I want to get into the next time on Tweet Peaks. And actually, okay, because I said who killed Laura Palmer power rankings, bring those power rankings back. And so
Yeah.
this is our I just want to have you are you still locked in on Bob basically?
I mean, generally yes, but it seems more complicated now because
Yeah.
there's a question of like Bob inhabiting someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, and you know what's funny? Way back in like when we recorded like the second or third episode of this show, and you were like, "Yeah, I think the log was the killer, but was like wielded by Mike and Bob," and I was like, "Damn, that's crazy."
Oh my god. But it might be the log that is wielding Bob, perhaps. We will have to see.
Do you have any? Do you have any called shots on this front? Because currently the called shot is Bob is inhabiting the the log, so to speak, like the like architecture, the wood, the trees of the Great Northern Hotel. Do you want to, with this called shot, make any Who Killed Laura Palmer called shots, or are we staying locked in?
I mean, typically we would do 3 nominees, so I still want to do that. And I don't need
Yeah.
to be that confident in any single one of them.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to say like top of the list is just like Bob the freelance evil spirit, like not inhabiting anything in particular.
Just kind of just appeared as a specter to cast murder.
Yeah, because as we know, like some people can see his true face. He has like something like an embodiment for certain people, and I think Laura's one of them. My next called shot will be oh damn, there was that other lodge, wasn't there? Like the room where she was like tied up and stuff.
Yeah. It was like a cabin.
A cabin. Okay.
It was a log cabin.
Lodge. Interesting. I feel like the creators of the English language planted that there for me as a clue.
Yeah.
Um
John English. Yeah, okay. So is your second power ranking going to be Bob inhabiting anyone, or like anything or a person?
How about Bob inhabiting Laura?
Ooh, okay. There were kind of vibes of that a little bit. Okay,
Kind
number
of.
3.
Number 3 is Bob inhabiting one of the various woods of Twin Peaks. And I don't just mean forests, I mean like the wood of the sawmill or the wood of the log cabin. Bob's in the wood.
All right, so ranking goes. Number 1, Bob the freelance evil spirit not inhabiting anyone. 2, Bob inhabiting Laura. And 3, Bob inhabiting one of the woods. Alrighty.
Great. I stand by it.
Next time on Twin Peaks. So last time we had the treachery of Harold. Donna escapes with the diary and feels guilty, sad face. Has to come to face with the cruel, inhumane way she's been treating Harold. She lashes out against her family. She tells Harriet that her poems are stupid.
Aww. Donna did not learn anything this episode. She did escape, but without the diary. She does not feel guilty. She is not.
Oh yeah, she's
her
just
feelings about
making
Harold.
out.
She's just That's not how kisses sound.
That was a fun sound. This is one where you got pranked by the way that Twin Peaks. It's the thing where like every character has their plot line, and it'll check in on like each of them every episode. But there's only like 2 or 3 of them that it will advance their plot line, and then the rest of them is just like you were going to show you making out and being stuck in your rut. You know,
You're
I feel
so
like you
right.
got pranked by them not.
No, it's just so rare that there is that much plot in one episode.
Except for when there is.
Except for when there is. Season 1 finale vibes.
Okay. Our next prediction was Dale and Audrey finally team up to surveil and incriminate Ben. They place a hidden microphone in his office, and they hear Catherine and Ben fucking on the desk. I'm willing to give this like 20% of a mark, because I
What?
do think that
Oh.
Audrey was kind of like loosely incriminating Ben and wanted to be with Dale about it. So, you know.
That's not nothing, and I appreciate your generosity there. I think
Uh-huh.
there's a real possibility they do team up in some capacity soon.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Okay.
no Catherine and Ben fucking on the desk. That's a real shame.
No.
I also love that there's like a built-in prediction that Catherine comes back.
Yeah, wait, hold on. I just realized that was just there. I was
That's just a huge...
truly just like, oh yeah, and then they're fucking. And it's just like, I was like, yeah.
They would be on the desk.
Our bonus prediction was the one-armed man takes meds to stop Bob from afflicting him.
Let's
Basically true.
go!
I'm giving the stamp there. They are longtime rivals. He's an astral plane vigilante who is interested in helping the police, but has no faith they'll be able to stop Bob. Also pretty good. Bob took his arm and now he wants him dead. He has been putting himself in withdrawal to confront Bob, and they are waiting at the trap they've laid. This is another, like, I was like, you need to do action, and the Twin Peaks was like, kind of, and actually he's just going to talk to the camera and explain about spirits. But I gotta say, this one's pretty, I think you got this one. I think this counts.
Thank you.
He was taking meds for his spirit, and he hates Bob and wants to get him.
I'm pretty pleased with this. I am.
Yeah. So next time, I had some notes of things I wanted to make you predict. I see you've just entered the bullet point, sneeze nose off.
Oh fuck. Oh my god. I was sure I was gonna remember this. Sneeze nose off. Let me try to remember what I meant by that.
What the fuck is sneeze nose off? Oh my god, wait, is this about Mr. Tojamura?
I think it must have been about Mr. Tojamura.
He's gonna sneeze his, like, his disguise off. Because that's very funny. Do we want to lock that one in just for the strength of it?
Yeah, fuck yeah. I see you have some guidelines for me here, so I'll stick to those otherwise. But
Okay, so the B plot will be Mr. Tojamura sneezes hard enough to sneeze his fake nose off and blows his disguise.
oh. Fuck yeah.
Okay, because we were talking about in this episode, there were quite a few cliffhangers raised. One of them is what is up with Bob, and you've entered a
Yeah.
called shot there. So I'm just gonna say Bob is inhabiting the Great Northern itself as the spirit in the wood, and all that implies. But specifically, I think the big things of this show is like, I think to have 2 characters say, I'm about to leave the show, means either they are not going to, and it's a fake out, they're going to get stopped, or they are going to no longer be on the show in one form or another. Well, those are the 2 ways that could go, but like, that's just it's a big thing to have some of these characters announce, like, I'm about to leave the show. So I want you
You're
to
right.
predict what will happen with Josie saying I'm leaving and with Maddy saying I'm leaving.
Okay, so as for Josie, remind me, do we see her getting on the plane?
No, she just leaves the Martell house, and Harry's like, I love you, and she walks out, and that's the last we see her. We have not seen her
Mhm.
get on the plane.
Damn. Well, this is, I'm going to say it again, a long season. She could easily disappear for half the season, then come back. I know
True.
she wants to stick around, obviously. I'm
Mhm.
going to say that she tries and fails to escape.
To escape, like, Jonathan and like bringing
Yeah.
her back to Hong Kong. Okay.
I think we see her get on a plane. I am not convinced she goes anywhere in particular.
Uh-huh.
This does not seem like a friendly, trustworthy guy she's with.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think this plot line is resolved for a good while.
I think that is a very Twin Peaks-esque move. If we're assuming that that's what's going on with Catherine, they would be like, oh, she's gone, and then it'll just kind of be a mystery for a couple episodes, and then she'll reappear at some point. I buy that.
Thank
Okay.
you. Well, this is me trying to moderate, like slightly walk back what I did last week, which is like one season of plot will happen next
To
week.
be fair, I was pushing you because you kept being like, yeah, and they'll talk, and I was like, no, make a thing happen. Okay, what do you think will happen with Maddy?
Okay, I'm gonna be bold here. Her last scene in the last episode was way too happy, way too optimistic. As I said earlier, the music was just like super like loud and kind of cloying with how it was deployed. I think something is gonna go terribly wrong.
It did kind of have a like one last job before I retire vibe to it.
Oh, interesting.
Well, how do you think it's gonna go wrong?
Hmm.
In terms of going wrong, do you think, because like she was very excited about like not acting like Laura anymore. If we're assuming that the show is giving us this big like I'm gonna stop being Laura scene as a like one last job before I retire, do we think she's unsuccessful in leaving Twin Peaks? Do we think she is like somehow put into a being Laura situation in the way that like Audrey was when she was captured, and it felt like she was kind of like being forced into occupying this like child of Amalas like position that Laura is?
Ooh,
Do you
wow.
think, I don't know. What do you think?
I expect Bob to return in some form in the next episode. And,
Mhm.
well, she's had run ins with him before.
Yeah, she has seen him.
Yeah. I think it's not impossible that Bob possesses her, but I'm not sure that that's my cold shot.
Uh-huh.
I'm just trying to think about like what would be most thematically resonant here. With Laura, it's like her arc sort of says a lot about the town and what would make sense to have happen to Maddy.
I could also direct you. I could give you some framing questions. Your like prediction of will Josie continue to be on the show will be not for a bit, but she will return. Do you think Maddy will be allowed to leave the show in the way that she seemed to want to, or do you think she will keep being on the show? Will like 2 episodes from now, will we see Cheryl Lee as Madeline Ferguson?
Ooh, goddamn. I like that idea a lot, especially with like the sort of narrative that people have about the later episodes of season 2, that it just like is sort of agonizing and stretches out forever. So for Cheryl Lee to just have to be in 10 more episodes is like very resonant with that.
Uh-huh.
I think she dies. There it is.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
All right.
Bob kills her.
All right. Do you want to lock in for that cult shot any more specificity in terms of, do we think Bob is doing this freelance? Is he like possessing any person or thing?
I think it's an FLB situation, freelance Bob, for those not in the know. I think it is going to be pretty terrible and gruesome, and people will be super ashamed that they were not able to protect her. It will be very similar to Laura's death in some ways, but different in others. Like, I'm not sure. She will not be a willing participant in any of this.
Interesting.
Everyone has been trying to make her Laura for the whole show, right? People are projecting Laura's whole deal onto her and roping her into Laura's life. And so I think that in some way is going to be what gets her killed. Like, she is going to, maybe the trap that we talked about, maybe she is part of like a really irresponsible scheme, you know?
Yeah, like they use her as bait for a Bob trap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of love that.
Oh, fuck. I really like that, actually.
Well, and actually, I'm really struck by you saying that, like, you know, her not being a kind of somewhat participant. We keep saying this, and it's really just based on the little flashes that we've gotten of the flashback to Laura's murder, where her face seemed somehow participating in the ritual. You know, we keep getting stuff about Laura being kind of strong-armed into participating in her, like, sexualization, you know, and, like, trying to enact agency in that contact by trying to find like eroticism and find some degree of like agency and enjoyment in it. Like, we have not gotten any of that from Maddy, right? You know, Maddie's not out here saying like he really likes my FIRE, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And I think that to me does kind of strengthen your read that like if she is killed, she would be like she would not have a relationship to it that of Laura did, of like, well, I'm stuck here, I might as well try to get something out of it, you know what I mean?
Totally.
All right, I mean, this is a pretty good called shot. So next time on Twin Peaks, Bob is inhabiting the Great Northern itself as the spirit in the wood and all that implies. Josie will try and fail to escape Jonathan. We see her get on a plane, leaving the question as to where or what will happen open, and the plotline remains open for a while. Maddy's last scene was way too happy and cloying. It bodes ill. She dies. Bob kills her. It's an FLB, a freelance Bob situation. It will be similar to Laura's death in some ways and not others, and everyone projecting Laura onto her is what will get her killed. Maybe they use her as bait for a Bob trap. And in the B plot, Mr. Tojamura sneezes his nose off. Well, I cannot imagine a more perfect set of Twin Peaks predictions than this, honestly.
And I am nearly 100% confident all of these things will happen exactly as I described them.
Yeah. Because it is really like whether or not any of these things literally happen, I think you've really grasped onto the spirit of Twin Peaks, that it is a show that would cut from Maddy is trapped in the specter of her dead cousin, and that like mantle of that keeps being projected onto her, and it costs her her life, to Mr. Tojamura sneezes his nose off.
Yay!
Well, I think that's an episode.
I think that's an episode of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And of this show.
That's so true. Well, it's time for us to do our line and say to everyone, bye.
Bye.
We did it.
TSTV is hosted by Sadie Avery Lake and yours truly, Lily Alexander. Our music is by Jamie Page. The art is by Maya Fernandez-Giles. This episode was edited by Sadie. Thank you, Sadie. If you want to get in touch with us, please email us at hellotstv@gmail.com. We may include your mail on a future episode of the show. Let us know if that's okay. If you want to support the show and gain access to our monthly bonus episodes, head over to tstv.show. See you next time.
Let's talk content warnings for the next episode of Twin Peaks. Season 2, Episode 7, also known as Lonely Souls, also known as Episode 14 of the show as a whole.
I'm here.
Hi. And
I'm
Lily's
here
here for this
support.
one. Yeah, this is the most, one of the episodes that is some of the biggest reasons of why we would do content warnings for this show, frankly. A lot of these is like, oh, there's this scene that's kind of upsetting, or like this is racist or ableist, or like, this stuff is going on in a way that's like, I'm sure it's worthwhile, like for some people to know about, but I wouldn't necessarily like do a whole content warning about it. But honestly, the big reason why we're doing it is because this show has episodes like Season 2, Episode 7, Lonely Souls, at which Twin Peaks up until now has had these dark moments and had these sometimes irresponsible from a show level moments, but has been this, relatively lighthearted show through a lot of it. And then all of a sudden you get an episode like this next episode, which I'm going to tell you all right now is incredibly dark.
And let's just give I assume this is assumed here, but big spoiler warning. We will try not to give away literally everything, but it's difficult not to, at least a little bit.
Yeah, feel free, like if you want to stop listening, just know that it's a darker episode than the rest of them and has some of the most upsetting stuff so far. you can know that and stop listening, and then you'll see it next episode and you'll know. To get into some of the specifics, this episode kind of starts out, it's just being a normal episode of Twin Peaks. We do have some more Mr. Tojamura stuff. It's kind of whatever. By whatever I mean bad. There's like, it's being Twin Peaks, and then halfway through the episode, we get a long scene, one of the longest scenes the show has like done just as a scene, of a pretty brutal murder and implied sexual assault. A bunch of the stuff that the show has been orbiting for the past bit comes to a head, and some of the techniques, like filmic techniques used to depict it, are really, really effective at making it frankly terrifying. The other big thing, I say the first bit of the episode kind of just goes, but there is also a death by suicide in this episode. We see a character having hung himself. That is framed in a not explicitly horrifying way. Is a dark thing to happen, but it's framed as a lot of the show is doing this kind of stuff as kind of a like, oh, it's part of the mystery, you know? I think that's the big thing. Up until now, we've seen dark things, and except for like some little moments when we've cut like the end of the season 2 pilot, like out of this mystery thing, we've seen these dark things happen framed not as horrifying, but as like part of this mystery. This whole brutal murder sequence is horrifying. It becomes a like David Lynch horror movie for what feels like 5-10 minutes. I don't think it's actually that long, but it feels really long, and the rest of the episode is people processing that. So yeah, just know that that is coming. That's the big thing in this episode, and I hope that you still enjoy it. Bye.